Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
All right, that's a little bit more like it. Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff on this Friday. Got a lot going on between the NFL and college. We start with what we saw last night, Perloff, and it got a little dicey there at the end.
It sure did.
As it usually does when we're talking about the Buffalo Bills. But I was happy because I'm a Bills fan, and Josh Allen had another Josh Allen signature game, and it was balanced. There was designed run plays for him. It was him using his legs. It was him getting back to what we know a Josh Allen game can be like. Yet at the same time, if you're going to have a good Josh Allen game, you're going to see him in that blue medical tent at some point. And that did happen in the first half. To his credit, he did not miss a snap. The offense stalled a little bit in the second half, but ultimately they kept Tampa from a Hail Mary situation at the end where Chris Godwin, if he had just turned around, probably could have caught the Hail Mary, and this would have been a much darker morning for me, but he didn't.
Your team, the Buffalo Bills, they're so dumb. They are dumb. So dumb.
They are very dumb.
First of all, they had about 6 blatant defensive pass interference on that Hail Mary. How Baker Mayfield threw the ball 55 yards is a miracle as well.
Oh, that's because the Bills committed a penalty the play before and got him 5 yards closer.
Wasn't it Von Miller, too?
Yes, it was
supposed
Von
to
Miller.
know better at this point. But I'll tell you why they're so dumb.
Yeah.
Josh Allen goes in the blue tent. So what do they do on the first play after he gets out of the blue tent? They do basically a naked boot where he rolls
right in
out,
harm's way.
and Antoine Winfield Jr. gets right in his face, and he throws the one pick that gave Tampa Bay life in that game. Yeah. Otherwise, it was a blowout. I have to admit, I may have put a couple bucks on the Bills. I found that to be the most frustrating non-cover in the history of the NFL because it was the varsity versus JV, but the Bills found a way to keep them around. But here's the bigger question. Forget last night's game. Did you see a Bills team that's real contender here? Because I worry about the injuries and the lack of depth on defense, especially.
No. I don't want to come on here a day after a win where they actually did look much better and say, oh my gosh, the sky is falling, because that's what people hate about, media and fans. It's like, oh, you get on them. But do I think they're still contenders? My thought about them getting closer to a Super Bowl, that has not changed. I do not think they are closer to a Super Bowl because if you're playing a better team on the other side, if you're playing your Philadelphia Eagles, which happens soon, and when you're playing Cincinnati, who's their next opponent, when you're playing the Kansas City Chiefs, like you're not getting away with that stuff. You're going to end up paying for that. Now, where I did like it is you do have to play the game you're in, right? So in the second half, when they had drive stall, and it was punt after punt after punt in the second half until it got exciting at the end. But, on a 4th and 4 at midfield, on a 4th and 3, I'm okay punting the ball away because the Tampa Bay Bucks are not a very good team, and they committed so many penalties, and they shot themselves in the foot so many times. You had you're up by 2 scores and you're punting on 4th down. I'll live with that because, again, no need to get overly aggressive there when you would control the game.
Absolutely. And the punter is really good. I haven't seen a lot of that guy.
Well, he's punting from midfield a lot of times.
But he was able, a lot of punters kicked that into the end zone.
True.
He was able to pin them. He was the MVP of the game except for Josh Allen. Yeah, I did see I was excited for the offense a little bit because Dalton Kincaid filled right in. The rookie out of Utah filled right in for Dawson Knox. And Shakur had a big game. Like, all of a sudden, there are weapons around them. It felt like, there's the Buffalo Bills offense. The kind of offense we saw in that famous 13-second game against the Kansas City Chiefs. The question to me is all on the defense. Even though Tampa Bay didn't really challenge them at all, they just don't look like what you expect.
No, I mean, they've lost 2 All-Pros and 1 Pro Bowl level player, and they're filling in with, guys who are playing admirably. Like your starting middle linebacker went to Villanova.
Wait, what does that mean?
It doesn't mean anything. He's playing great. It's just you're trying to fill in with guys who are really being asked to do a lot. And not just that, but he's also young. Your middle linebacker's in his second year who's really trying to be like Matt Milano now. And that's just going to be really, really tough to fill shoes like that. We'll see what they do at the trade deadline. Here's my thing. I just talked to Boomer Esiason about this. He does a show two studios down. And I was like, I need to know, because obviously I never played football in my life. I need to know why you're at the goal line with like a 3rd and goal or a 4th and goal, and you have a yard to the end zone.
Yeah.
You have a 6'5" quarterback who weighs like 260 pounds. No Vita Vea on the other side for the Tampa Bay Bucks. He didn't play last night because of injury. Why are you in shotgun?
Because you're idiots.
Boomer told me, and he said I could use this on the air, that he said Bill Cowher, the Hall of Fame coach, was asking the same question on their text thread last night.
Yeah.
Nobody can figure it out. Even Todd Bowles in the interview in between quarters, like, we expect Josh Allen to run the ball. So maybe you guess that's why you put him in shotgun? Do the tush push. I don't get it.
That play should have been a pick six, too. That was
Yes, it should have been Malcolm Butler at the goal line.
That was a
redo.
I'm saying the Bucs guy, he had 99 yards of green in front of him. If he caught that pass, there's a couple things that fans are always right about. Never punt from the opponent's 45-yard line. Todd Bowles, is he terrible?
He's bad.
He's terrible.
I know.
You don't need to be an analytics-based coach, but you can't consistently play that conservatively.
Come out for the fake field goal, too, and then punt.
Todd Bowles, I think,
4th and 2.
is killing future defensive coordinators' chances of getting head coaching jobs because he's way too conservative. The shotgun thing is ridiculous. So here's the thing: you said they need to do something at the trade deadline. Like what?
Defense.
Give me some position. So
linebacker. Got something linebacker. I'll take a little more secondary help. Pass rush, I think they're going to be okay. They've drafted pass rusher after pass rusher. They're working Von Miller back in.
I got bad news for you.
There's no linebackers out there?
Well, the one position you could trade for is pass rusher because they're all expensive, so teams are trying to get rid of them.
Yeah, Chase Young, guys like that. Yeah.
I saw there's one guy named Frankie Louvu. I guess he was a Jet, and he's on the Panthers, and everyone thinks the Bills have been targeting.
Great.
Yeah.
Does he have a pulse? Does he have 2 feet and 2 arms?
I don't even think that's a problem with the Bills. I do. I just think that they seem to find the banana peel in a way that really, really good teams do not. They're very talented, obviously. Josh Allen's showed last night. He's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. But you just can't make these kind of mistakes again and again and again. So even if they do figure out everything, do you really trust them? I know you don't.
I do not. No.
I think this is your influence. I've been sitting next to you, and every week I'm like, the Bills are great. The Bills are great. You're like, I don't know.
Yeah, just bet on them a couple times. Then it'll really come
last
back
night was a miracle. 2 fourth and longs that the Bills stuffed them, and flags come out of nowhere. If you bet on last night, and the total, too, got screwed up by the 2-point conversion, everything about that game is why they build these gigantic casinos in Las Vegas. You can't predict the end. I still did feel really good about Josh Allen.
They got off to a much better start.
What did you think of that scramble in the beginning of the game where he went 13 yards for the touchdown? I mean, he's 6'6", and he was juking guys.
I know. That's the Josh Allen way. I mean, you love it. You love to see it. He's staring down Jamel Dean while he's running the ball into the end zone and putting the ball out. Just begging to whatever.
I'm sure Maggie Gray had a small panic attack when the ball came out of his hand right after the goal line.
Guys, I'm not going to survive the season, but I've mentally put myself in a space where I'm like, they're a good team, but don't be expecting Super Bowl because I just don't think they're there. I have to be honest about that. I was impressed by last night because they could have come in and just kind of laid down. Like, that would have been terrible. Then you would have known the vibes were off. Then you would have known the coach was probably going to get fired. Like, all those things, they staved that off, at least for a week. Get a couple extra days to get healthy before they play the Bengals. And that's what I'm super curious about.
Yeah.
Like, the Bengals have this big game this weekend in San Francisco.
Yeah, and it's hard to play the week after San Francisco.
San Francisco beats teams up, number one. And also, the Cincinnati offense just, hasn't been the unit yet that has clicked. The defense is basically responsible for them being 3-3 at this point, which is awesome for them that they're 3-3, considering, Burrow's banged up. But now is probably healthy. I'm just curious, are the Bengals coming in as a team that's coming off this massive win against the 49ers and back into the conversation as one of the best teams in the AFC?
Well, I think that it's 2 different Bengals teams. There's injured Joe Burrow in the beginning of the year, and then miraculously, let's look into that. Miraculously, fully healthy Joe Burrow a week later. Mm-hmm. So I think you're seeing a completely different team. The Bills have a bunch of tough games on the road, too.
Yep.
It's amazing, too. They're kind of sticky in the Las Vegas odds for Super Bowl. Like, they're still in the top 6. To me, and I think you're way too negative because they're your own team and you're generally a half-glass empty person.
Yeah, in life.
And that's fair to say. You don't take that as a criticism, do you?
No. Is the glass even half full? It's
I speak generous.
A quarter. Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely tend to be cynical. I don't know if cynical is the right word because it's not overly negative. You just think good things are not going to happen to you.
Exactly. Well, this is why it was perfect for me to be a journalist because you got to go, and that's what I used to be, but you got to go in with eyebrow raised on everything. And I do that with life.
Yeah, especially
it's a heck of a way to live.
Especially,
guys.
I think that might be because of the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah,
it's
I don't
sort of
discount the Mets.
Sort of the well, yeah, that's even worse. The Bills are
that's
lovable.
Where the anger comes from.
Yeah, the Bills are lovable losers,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't see them in the mix here because of the defensive injuries. And come on, beating at home on a Thursday night against Tampa Bay.
And you let him back in the game at the end.
That means nothing. I wouldn't read too much moving forward.
No.
A little bit of a relief, but big picture, not sure that team is back.
Nothing changed for me from last night in terms of Super Bowl expectations. They are not there. There are better teams in the AFC. If the defense was fully healthy, maybe we'd be talking about something different, but that's just not the case this year. And so, no, the Super Bowl expectation is still 0. But it was nice to see them win, so I didn't have to come in and have a massive meltdown today and just, have mascara running down my face.
If they had hit that Hail Mary at the end, this would have been...
That's the question I was about to ask.
I would have called in.
How much of a difference would this have been had Chris Godwin just found the ball in the lights? Because that's really the difference between Maggie saying everything's a little better now to maybe a absolute nuclear meltdown here.
You know what I would have done? And I'm not a fan of this because I think it's childish and I think it's short-sighted and I think you look like a total jabroni if you do something like this. I probably would have burned a jersey. Burned a T-shirt.
At 11 o'clock on a Thursday night at home.
Just take it out to the yard and just burn my Bills merch. I probably would have done that. And again, I'm against that. But, everyone has their moment.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the ball, was anybody else scouting the Bucs to see who we want off this team for my team? As an Eagles fan, I was a little mad that they already traded for Kevin Byard because if Antoine Winfield Jr. is out.
He's not available. You don't get rid of guys like that.
Well, what are the Bucs doing? Is there any reason for them to play this out? What's the upside of that team?
You get a new coach and a new quarterback next year, and now you're going to be fine. The defense is not bad. They can't stop the run. But
getting old, though.
But that's no Vita Vea last night, who's such a linchpin in that defense.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind having Shaq Barrett on my team either.
I mean, listen, they've got all the guys who basically they're from the Super Bowl.
Buffalo and Tampa Bay played each other last night. Maybe the GMs saw each other in the hallway and said, let's do some kind of deal. Yeah, Buffalo... you have to watch them now. They're going to make a splash. They have to make a splash move.
Dude, I'll take Levante David at this point. I mean, he's 100. I'll take him.
That'd be a great addition.
Well, he's super old, but
he's
fine.
He's still really good.
I know. Anyway, 855-2124-CBS. I do not think the Bills are Super Bowl contenders off of that. Nice win, but not Super Bowl contenders. And if I were the Bucs, I would start the tank immediately, if not sooner.
I don't think they have much of a choice. What are they going to do?
Well, it's the NFC South. So what are you going to do? Hang around. I mean,
they just scored 13 points against the Atlanta Falcons and lost 16-13. This is not a good team. I don't think that you're right. They're not going to get the number one pick, but they're not going to do it. They could even make the playoffs, and it really wouldn't matter.
Do you think Baker Mayfield gets starting jobs now after this season?
No.
This was it, right?
This is 100% it. Because now he's getting a little bit older. I feel like he's lost that speed that he used to have.
He's the same age as Allen.
How old is Baker
Mayfield? Same draft class.
God, why does it feel like Baker Mayfield is 5 years older?
I don't know. No, they're the same. I don't know if they're the same age, but they're definitely the same draft class.
Oh my gosh, Baker's only 28.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if he's done getting starting jobs.
I think he is.
I think we have to also, can we put the moratorium? I know they're only 3-4. I'm not trying to totally bury them, and they played a bad division, but can we put the moratorium on the Baker Mayfield swagger? Like, we get it. We don't need this. This is like Ryan Fitzpatrick went to Harvard. We don't need the story all the time.
He's not good enough to me to even be a guy that we talk about saying, oh, he's got a chip on his shoulder. It's like, well, yeah, because he's underachieved. That's what happens when you're a number one overall pick and you haven't worked out the way people thought it would. Like,
listen, he won a playoff game for the Cleveland Browns. They should put him in some kind of ring of honor or something. I don't know. But again, like the swag, we get it. He's a good team leader. Like there's 100 of them out there.
He's also my daughter Emma's favorite player. Did you guys know that?
Why?
Because I always made her watch sports TV with me, and she can't figure out anything about football. But she said at one point, she goes, Dad, why do they keep talking about a baker? I thought this was football. That was have to do with the food. She thought it was like the Great British Bake Off or something. So she goes, I asked her, who's the one football player you know? She said Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I'm like, you don't know who Tom Brady is, but you know who Baker Mayfield is?
Yeah, he makes fruit tarts on the side.
Last night Baker Mayfield was playing, and I brought her down and I go, honey, it's Baker Mayfield, your guy. Yeah. And she was really excited.
Cookies for everyone.
Yeah, the only person excited about it was Baker Mayfield
I was
playing on Thursday.
No, I know.
Everyone else in Tampa Bay was groaning. No, he wasn't terrible last night.
He was terrible. I saw coming into that fourth quarter drive where they were gifted all those fourth downs. He had 125 yards or something.
Shad White's good.
Nah, he's not good.
He looked good last night.
What's he averaging on the year? It's not just that whole team cannot run the ball.
Well, they have an offensive lineman who got called for 4 holding calls. At one point, Al Michael said it's a hat trick, and I think he got another one.
I thought the announcers kept saying Rashad White is good, and I'm like, what are you basing that on? He's averaging 3.3 yards per carry this year.
Last night he probably averaged, 5 yards a carry? It was great.
He had 7 catches. That was probably
He's good out of the backfield.
They use the screen game as like the extension of the run.
They're one of the worst running teams in modern football history. They were a little better last night.
Man, it just goes to show, that's basically the same offensive line that Brady had.
No, but Marpet's gone.
Oh, yeah, Marpet's gone, but they have
another guy. One of the other big guys
center is gone.
No, he's back. Haynes, I thought Haynes...
Jensen?
Man, now
Jensen.
Jensen
retired.
They have a different guy.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about the Bucs offensive line.
Let's break it down.
This is a new low for our show.
I mean, I'm not surprised. After last night's game, there was just a weird vibe. Of course, it's going to be a weird discussion about this game.
Jeffrey Howell in the chat said it would have been 911 crazy lady burning laundry. Please hurry. If the Bills had lost that game, I would have burned some of my Bills merch.
When you burn a jersey, do you have to soak it in lighter fluid first? How does this work? Has anyone ever burned a jersey?
I'm terrified of burning anything. That would scare me. As much as I get angry at players and teams, I the burning the jersey thing is something I wouldn't do because I would assume you have to use a lot of lighter fluid and stuff. Yeah. I don't even like starting a grill. So the thing I'm gonna burn cloth that's perhaps pretty close to where I am is not happening.
It's the toxins that it puts in the air.
There's that too.
Remember, didn't Sauce Gardner last year burn a cheese head?
Yes, he burned
a
cheese head.
Oh, my
Yeah, he burned the cheese head that he stole from, I don't say stole, but he grabbed the cheese head from Lambeau Field after they beat the Packers. And then to make amends with Aaron Rodgers and any other maybe Rodgers fans who didn't like that, he burned the cheese head in his fire pit.
Yeah, someone who lives directly downwind from him, I'd appreciate it if he would stop burning those kind of disgusting materials. But meanwhile, I would have done it myself last night.
Yeah, I'm not pro burning jerseys. Burning the LeBron jerseys is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my life.
I listen, if they had lost that game, I think I would have understood. Now, that was because he left. He left Cleveland, but I would have gotten it. I would have been at that low point where you're just like, I just burn this stuff. Just get it out of my face. But thankfully, we're not there today. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Our own CBS Sports Radio handle in the chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, says you definitely need lighter fluid. So somebody around here has burned a jersey.
Somebody from Cleveland, probably.
Somebody who's manning the CBS Sports Radio account this morning.
Okay.
Yes. So somebody who's a Jets fan. 855-212-4CBS. Not EJ, someone else. 855-212-4227. Okay, coming up, you're welcome to weigh in, of course, but what in the world is going on with team security keeping one of their own players from boarding the team plane? This is a new one. We'll get to that story next. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, we're back here on the Maggie and Perloff show. Now in the mornings, better than ever. Although it's a little tough to catch some of those late night NBA games to see the Phoenix Suns, Lakers. But I love one image, Maggie.
What's that?
That the NBA executives were all sitting around in New York this summer trying to figure out a way to stop load management.
Yeah.
And they came up with a foolproof plan. Independent doctors would look at these guys and they were going to fix one of their big problems. And then who comes along? A certain left-handed shooting guard out of Philadelphia, James Harden, immediately blew away any logic to this whole thing. So the NBA is investigating my Philadelphia 76ers because they will not let James Harden come on the team plane. This is amazing.
It's amazing.
So some of the details are that Harden had not been with the team, but he showed up for their road trip, and the security guards would not let him on. He says that I thought they were recommending that I stay in Philadelphia and get in better shape. And the team says, no, we were telling you to stay in Philadelphia and get in better shape. But they might not be allowed to tell him to stay back because under the new league rules, you have to play
if you're
players
healthy.
who are not hurt.
Yeah.
So Harden's not hurt.
Especially for national TV games.
Yeah.
We have some sound here from Chris Haynes of TNT who describes what happened with Harden and the security.
He ended up showing up at the airport to board the flight with his teammates, and he was stopped by a security official who told him he wasn't permitted to get on board. From there, Elton Brand, general manager for the Sixers, and head coach Nick Nurse approached James Harden and told him, listen, we need you to stay back. We have the resources. We need to track your progress. We need to track your measurables and your speed levels because you've been away for so long. And we have all the resources back at the facility. And James was not happy about that. He wanted to get back reacclimated with his teammates.
Okay, so that was the up to speed. Can you imagine the actual scene there of the security guard stepping in front of James Harden being like, like everyone who's going to Milwaukee, take a step forward. Not so fast, James Harden.
Yeah, I can't believe he showed up with his bags, too. He spent all that time packing for this road trip. I think this idea that James Harden was going to be traded in the offseason, I think that's a lie. I don't think the Clippers were ever going to give anything away. I think the Sixers are stuck with him. Tell me how this plays out. There's no positive ending here with James Harden. And I honestly, I know some people are starting to blame the Sixers brass and Daryl Morey. I blame James Harden because how many times has he sort of blown up a team?
Oh, this would be the third one in the calendar year, or about a year and a half. So you have Houston,
a year and a half.
Houston first, then Brooklyn, now Philly.
Yeah.
Those are the three places that he asked for trades / quit on the court at some point or quit off the court to try to get his way. Now, a couple of things why I have no sympathy for James Harden on this thing. First of all, who are you to be making demands? Like, you're going to demand that you can go with the team right now. I don't understand where James Harden has any credibility with that whatsoever. He's been away from the team. Now, granted, that was an excused absence. That's excused. Apparently, he was dealing with a sick relative. So it might have been his mom. So stressful situation. The real side of life comes in there, and that's terrible. But you were somebody who decided to opt into this last year of the deal.
Right.
You could have just straight up been a free agent. You could have gone anywhere you wanted to go, but he thought he had this sort of handshake deal with Morey that he was going to get that $30 million or whatever he's making, $40 million, and then he was going to trade him. Earth to James Harden. The world doesn't revolve around you. You don't always going to get what you want with the snap of a finger, especially when you have zero trade value whatsoever. Clearly, to me, ownership has signed off on this. They are willing to get uncomfortable and make this as awkward as possible. But how James Harden can come to the team plate and say, like, I want to play now? You went to China over the offseason and said, I'll never play for Daryl Morey again and caused this incredible headache for everyone. I don't see where Harden has any case here.
Well, here's the bigger problem. Forget all these minor details. James Harden has, in my opinion, zero value as an NBA player. Doc Rivers, when he got let go from the Sixers or whatever happened there, he said, when we had Harden on the court, it limited us as a team because the defense always knew where the ball is, meaning it's always in his hands. Yeah. He's a complete offense killer. I know, and Maggie, you know that I've been consistent. The day they traded for him, I'm like, this is a terrible idea.
You thought it was like a funeral.
Yeah, and
I was like, Perloff, come on. He can change. Nope.
Going a little against the grain and against the hardwood here, I honestly think people overestimate scoring as an ability in the NBA because if you need the ball in your hands to score and the defense can just sit back and wait for you to make a move, then you're the opposite of the Golden State Warriors. And James Harden just makes it so easy. You know exactly what he's going to do. So I think the Sixers actually are a better team. Just cut him. I don't know if you can. There's nothing he can do to help this team win games, in my opinion.
Okay, so one of the people who is taking the opposite view of you and I would be Kevin Garnett, the Hall of Famer. So here's KG on KG Certified. Is that a podcast? Cool. Says Joel Embiid should have asked for Daryl Morey, the general manager, to be fired over this.
This could have been resolved a long time ago. This is the that whatever dude name is in Marley, GM in Philly. These are games. He could have done this in the summer. This could have been over. If I'm Joel Embiid, man, I'm asking for Daryl Morey to be fired and get out. I thought Elton Brand was GM. What going on?
Never change, Kevin Garnett. He also said if he was Embiid, he would be livid about the Harden situation.
If I am Embiid, I am livid. I am livid. Man, y'all should have got this problem out of here. Got this out of here. He's the MVP, bro. He ain't in no championship talks. And he gonna have a extension too. He's sitting back watching all this. Maxey watching all this. All those guys, man. The league watching this.
Why wouldn't Embiid be the most ticked off with Harden? That's what I don't understand. Like, Embiid has really been neutral on this thing. He is like totally Switzerland right now, or he's not saying anything. I don't know what's going on behind closed doors, but I'm not understanding why he's like, get this guy, this loser energy off the team.
Okay.
Not the front office. The front office, I feel like the front office has to try to get the best trade possible. I don't know if that ship sailed, but they do have to try to get the best trade possible.
I think Embiid, after the game, he demands one thing, and that is Shake Shack. Honestly, if you think that, and if KG says what he's doing, you don't give Joel Embiid a pass. I love the way the blame is going to go on Daryl Morey and James Harden. Joel Embiid, you could see him huffing and puffing at the end of that game. Honestly, and Daryl Morey's going to win GM of the year if Kelly Oubre keeps playing like this. That was the signing of the offseason.
Not going to happen.
Trust me, that's not going to happen.
Still, just that you got one Kelly Oubre game like that was amazing to me.
They lost.
Yeah, I know, but lost. Kelly Oubre, they were on the road in Milwaukee. They lost by 1 point. That is a victory for the team Kelly Oubre. Honestly, Embiid, I cannot go there. If you put, he's a superstar. He's an MVP. You think Jokic is going to complain about teammates? I think this is all on Embiid. He's a team leader, whatever. I don't give him a pass just because Harden is worse.
No, I think KG's actually right on the money. And I think the fact that Morey, this whole issue between Morey and James Harden, it's like that two clowns fighting in the basketball court thing. That's what this has been. Because Daryl Morey, as much as we want to talk about the issues James Harden has created, and James Harden is a clown himself.
Yeah.
But it's been a chaotic situation in Philadelphia pretty much since Daryl Morey showed up.
But it was chaotic. It was so much
that.
More chaotic before he got there.
76ers have been a clown show for a while.
He comes in with the Ben Simmons situation where he's telling Ben Simmons doesn't want to come back.
Right, because he's terrible.
But he's holding on to him unnecessarily when he could have moved him earlier. He brings in the chaotic the chaos agent that is James Harden, puts him on his team, brings him back, re-signs him to try, and with this kind of wink deal that maybe we'll give you more money if you take less.
Yeah.
Then he reneges on the deal knowing that James Harden is a combustible asset to his team, and now it's going crazy. And then Daryl Morey just throwing his hands up saying, what do I do? If he really wanted to deal with the Harden situation, he should have moved on from him this offseason. He absolutely had the chance to do that. He didn't because he has this fantasy land in his mind that getting Terrence Mann is going to change the Philadelphia 76ers. Nobody believes that.
Ooh,
Nobody.
I want Terrence Mann so bad. Add some quickness to this team. Are you kidding me? Here's the thing.
The bar was so low. The third seed.
EJ,
that's what's going to happen.
EJ, the bar was so low in Philly. Listen, he was taking over for a front office that drafted Markelle Fultz over Jason Tatum. I mean, how bad do you have to be worse than that?
No, but you're talking about talent. And yes, there was a chaotic situation with Fultz in the shoulder situation. I'm talking about chaos.
Yeah.
What we've
Fultz
seen,
was a bit chaotic too, by the way.
Stability. He was supposed to be the guy that, hey, you know what, Elton Brand, he's a rookie. He's never done this before. We're going to bring in a president who's actually accomplished something, a president that actually knows how to run an organization. Does Daryl Morey look like a guy that looks like he knows how to run a competent organization?
Well, listen,
he's been to the playoffs.
That don't want to play for the team.
He's been to the playoffs every year. He's been a GM, basically.
Yeah,
At least he's had some success.
Has he won?
Yeah, 0. But
how many times has he been to a championship?
No, the last GM got caught with a burner account where he was defending the size of the collar on his shirt. I mean, they needed a real upgrade. I think Morey was it. Now, Morey's not perfect. You're right. He had this love affair with James Harden that nobody can really understand. Like
everyone has a fatal flaw. His was James Harden.
And then we didn't even mention, we talked about chaos. How about this? And I'm not what about what he said about China and how that created a chaotic situation, not just for the Sixers, but for the NBA.
He liked to tweet.
Oh, you're defending the NBA on that one?
No, I'm saying that Daryl Morey.
That was Daryl Morey's fault for calling out an obvious whatever. We're not starting that topic.
I'm talking about
that's the one thing he has on his positive ledger is the China thing.
Ask the NBA players how they felt about that situation.
Yeah, ask America how they feel about the NBA players supporting China.
My point being is that Daryl Morey is supposed to be a person that's supposed to bring order and supposed to bring a direction to this team. And what he has brought, whether it's been with the Sixers players, whether it's been outside the NBA, it's only been chaos.
I don't know. I think I get what you're saying because his blind love of Harden, but the 76ers find chaos in places that nobody else does. Like, there's something about that organization. Our boss has a whole podcast. It's one of the most successful sports podcasts in this country simply because the 76ers are such a bleep show and you're just waiting for the next thing to happen. And today, it's a security guard for the team that banned James Harden from getting on the team plane.
Yeah.
Wild.
Honestly, I'm so thrilled that they even hung in there with Milwaukee last night. That was Kelly Oubre, baby. I don't burn my Kelly Oubre jersey.
I'm only going to burn Bill stuff, but not today. Andrew Bogish is here for some headlines. Good morning.
Good morning. Can I run something by you, Maggie?
Of course.
I was on the verge yesterday of offering you and I take the points and the Bucks against our friends here with the loser buying breakfast this morning.
I told you that the Bills weren't going to cover.
I think retroactively he would have said yes to that bet.
No.
Thank you for breakfast.
Okay.
I'll have a bacon, egg, and cheese.
A little backtracking here. You guys said this is a very losable game, and then
it almost was.
Then you're like,
and then the Hail Mary fell in the end zone.
That being said, you're like, yeah, we're
sleep.
so confident, and you understand a 9-point spread. Of course, it's 50-50, could go either way. And last night was a perfect example of that. That could have gone easily the Bills' way. Whatever. Covering, I'm not giving you any credit for that. You guys said they were. You all said this is a game they could lose.
And they almost did.
And they almost lost.
To another bad team.
Right.
Which would have been why, if they had lost, I would have burned my Bills jersey.
Gosh, you guys are talking tough after the game. Nobody had the guts to bet me. No one here.
Because I know Todd Bowles.
Yeah.
That's a great point, by the way.
Was like,
that's why I felt so good.
Perloff was like, bet the money line, you cowards. I'm like, we can't do it. But would have bet you on the spread.
All right, let's hear how it sounded, how they almost lost this one last night to the Buccaneers.
Mayfield back to pass, pocket collapsing, steps up, heaves it down the field. This is going to reach the end zone, and it's incomplete. Godwin turned around a little too late, but he was in the vicinity to make the catch. He did not, and the game is over.
Chris Brown wasn't wrong on Bills radio. Had Chris Godwin turned around, a second sooner, that Hail Mary might have landed right in his hands for an improbable Tampa win. Instead, the Bills went home with a 24-18 victory. 21 of those points came through Josh Allen, 2 passing scores and 1 running.
Our guys knew what they were doing. They were playing fast. Obviously, when you go up tempo, it's kind of like, if you make a mistake, at least you're going full speed, and sometimes I find you that way too. So just trying to get guys open.
Allen producing the offense after getting his right shoulder checked in the second quarter. He did not miss a snap. His touchdown passes went to Gabe Davis and rookie tight end Dalton Kincaid. Veteran tight end Dawson Knox went on IR pregame following wrist surgery. Tyreek Hill said, "I'm good, baby," when asked yesterday if he and his hip will play Sunday against the Patriots. And Brock Purdy was back at Niners practice yesterday. That's the second to last step of clearing concussion protocols.
Should we just take a step back though? Is it smart for this guy to play if he was just he was just feeling symptoms on Monday night?
Right.
Even if he's not feeling symptoms, should we take a beat on this one just as human beings or no?
So, but except though, I don't know that you're officially declared to have a concussion when you go in protocols. He had symptoms, didn't feel right, but it doesn't mean that they're actually, or doesn't guarantee that there's anything there that still would be an issue on Sunday, if that's making sense.
Sure.
I don't know. Just like every horrible hit doesn't give you a concussion.
Right.
Like Deshaun Watson slamming us on the turf looked awful,
by the way,
makes you want to puke, but it doesn't mean he has a concussion.
So we need some consistency. If we're going to say, they should protect quarterbacks, except for Deshaun Watson, who's a wimp for not going out there, I think there's a little bit of hypocrisy. Not you, Maggie, but in the media, everyone's on like, why won't Deshaun Watson get out there? But then everyone last year was like, I can't believe they put Tua out there.
You want to know why? Yes, you're right. The visual evidence with Tua was overwhelming. It's staggering, and then he got ambulanced off the field, but in a subsequent game. But the thing is, I think we have either the NFL's not doing a good job about this or we're not doing a good job, which is when someone's cleared, I take that to be fine.
Right.
They're cleared. They can play. Cleared concussion protocol, can play. Cleared whatever. That's why Deshaun Watson is getting no favors, because he keeps clearing all these things and he's still not playing.
But anybody who watched that game, if that wasn't a concussion, then I don't know what a concussion is, because his head bounced off the floor like a basketball. So I think that every game you see guys get concussions and come back. Oh, we know this is football. No matter how many rules they put in there, guys are still getting concussed.
Let's get to the NBA. Damian Lillard, 1 for 1 as a Buck.
Lillard, step back 3, on the way, got it! Damian Lillard, welcome to the Cream City. Game time has arrived with 1:07 to go.
That's Dave Kane on Bucks Radio. That was the Dagger 3 in a season-opening 118-117 win over those Sixers. Lillard scoring 39, the most ever in a Bucks debut. And again, that loss, the only bad thing going on for the Sixers. The Lakers rallied past the Suns for their first win, 195. LeBron scoring 10 of his 21 in the fourth quarter. NCAA investigators reportedly at Michigan to check out the Wolverines' alleged sign-stealing operation. This apparently shows how seriously the NCAA is taking the matter. Meanwhile, Yahoo says TCU knew about all of this ahead of last season's CFP semifinals, so they made up new signals but still threw in the old ones to confuse the Wolverines. And on ice,
TCU might as well be Harvard. It's
right?
Smart.
Mm-hmm.
Real smart.
That's America's team again. I wish they were good again this year because they're wonderful. Sonny Dykes, Coach of the Year.
Some dummy signals. I love it.
Finally on ice, it took a Phillies-like collapse for the Boston Bruins to lose for the first time this season.
McTavish takes it away with some help from the teammates. Leo Carlson moving in. McTavish shoots, scores! How about this? Down 3-1, and they win the game 4-3 in OT.
Steve Carroll, Ducks Radio. The Bruins led 3-1 with 2 minutes left, but gave up 2 to find themselves in OT, and then Mason McTavish got that winner, a 4-3 Anaheim victory. It's much like dropping games 6 and 7 of the NLCS at home to a lesser opponent. Back to you.
Is that Craig McTavish's son?
I don't know if it's his son or his nephew, but definitely connected, yeah.
There you go. Look at me dropping some hockey knowledge.
What else you got?
That's it.
Okay. 855-212. Thank you, Bogish. 855-212-4CBS.
Don't you have isn't there a Ducks jersey with your name on it in this room?
It's right behind you.
Yeah. How are you not fully aware of the entire Ducks organization? What did you do to deserve that jersey then?
It's one of his
went to a
teams,
game and they handed it to me. Nice stadium. Took a while to get to from L.A.
Gordon Bombay, good coach.
Big fan of Goldberg.
You would be.
Knucklebuck time, baby.
That's the problem with Perloff's bandwagons. They happen so fast.
Well, I got a couple hocky teams I'm on this year.
Yeah, we've heard.
I'm a huge, I'm
half the Eastern Conference.
lifelong Connor Bedard fan, and the Boston Bruins, Flyers if they get good again. It's very hard being a bandwagon hockey fan. I got to tell you, that sport moves fast.
Did you see my Connor Bedard quote tweet the other day?
No, what'd you say?
That punk didn't know who Pearl Jam was.
Oh, I
and
saw
the
that.
older guys on the team had to introduce him to Eddie Vedder.
Don't start that game where you ask young athletes who they've heard of. It is
sad,
shocking sometimes.
Well, but I see this on the flip side. I'm like, this lucky guy now gets to discover Pearl Jam. For the first time. That's so cool.
But when you were 18, or I was 18, I would have known about the people my parents liked.
The Beatles.
Right. I would have known that they existed. I might not know their songs, but I would have known their name. Like my kids, unfortunately for them, they're going to know that my wife and I like Dave Matthews Band.
Yeah.
They're not going to go, who's Dave Matthews in 6 years?
Bogish, anyone who's ever met you knows you like Dave Matthews Band. Your kids have been indoctrinated.
People who haven't.
Yeah, they hate it. They hate it more than Pete does.
It's scary about young athletes don't know other athletes. That's scary.
Yeah.
And obviously just young people in general not knowing about old bands.
Yeah, or anything.
Yeah. All right. Well, Pearl Jam. Cool. 855-212-4CBS. Hopefully Connor Bedard, we can introduce him to some of the deep cuts. They're still touring.
Connor Bedard, he's Canadian, right?
Yes.
Is Pearl Jam not big in Canada? We need to do an expose here.
Yeah. I mean, Pearl Jam's big in Kazakhstan. They're big everywhere. 855-212-4CBS. Okay, coming up next, why the Cowboys have to be on high alert this Sunday. We get to that. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Memo to Connor Bedard. This is Pearl Jam. Yeah, let's just play Pearl Jam for like the next hour. Anyway.
I have here, by the way, Connor Bedard, the Chicago Blackhawks phenom, his favorite pump-up song. Let's see here. Okay, I don't have it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But
Wow.
He's in a rap.
Okay. Well, that's fine. I mean, you can be into whatever you want to be in. It's just Pearl Jam's so famous, it was kind of hard to believe that he hasn't come across them at any point.
I don't think they're that famous to young people, Maggie. I hate to do this to us.
Listen, I get it. We're part of the, we're the older set now.
Yeah, I mean, even things that we think are modern are kind of old to our kids. Like, my kids are like, Katy Perry, that's classic rock.
I'm still the person who, when someone says 30 years ago, I'm like, oh, 1975. It's like, nope, that's not right. It's the 90s, actually. It was 30 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I look back and I'm like, I knew who the Beatles were, but the Beatles came 15 years before so they weren't really that long ago. And the kids today, they don't. Pearl Jam was 30 years ago.
Okay, but I know it was, but here's the thing about kids today. They also have no excuses because you can pay $9.99 a month and have every song ever recorded on every device. That wasn't what it was like for you and I. I mean,
yeah, we had to buy records
or CDs, if it was my case, or tapes, and then get into, downloads and stuff. I still had to go pick out stuff and just play that on repeat forever. So
yeah, we had the radio. Remember the radio?
We're on the radio.
Yeah, no, I mean, but does anyone listen to music radio anymore? I feel like if you want to go to music, you might go to Spotify.
I think you just listen to us on the radio at all times.
But you can't get sports talk radio is awesome. I never listen to music. Well, except for people who are under our corporate umbrella, I never listen to any other music radio.
And by the way, Connor Bedard, he was asked his favorite pump-up song. He kind of gave a non-answer, but he did submit a favorite song to the Chicago Blackhawks, and it's "We Are Young" by Fun featuring Janelle Monáe.
That's a good song. It's a good song.
Great choice.
Yeah,
I was really excited when you said hip hop though, because I'm a huge hip hop fan, Perloff. So I was really hoping I'd see some J. Cole or some Kendrick, or maybe something, Wu-Tang Clan, maybe if he's a kid that likes throwback stuff. So,
well, I was just saying, my 13-year-old daughter, her generation, I mean, they know nothing about rock and roll. They don't care at all. They're totally irrelevant. It's just hip-hop. There's not even a second genre.
I know, but I asked Pearl, I'm like, do they like any of the classic hip-hop, like Biggie and Wu-Tang and those? And you go, no.
Yeah, actually, Eminem.
Eminem, okay.
And you brought up a good point. Biggie's a little too hard for a 13-year-old.
Well, Wu-Tang would be. Biggie was a little more popular.
I mean, I'm not. Yeah, I think that like kind of more indie sounding. Like Kendrick Lamar is not totally accessible to a 13-year-old. She does not understand what he's talking about.
Listen, I definitely didn't know what Wu-Tang was talking about, but I still liked it. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Although our own handle, CBS Sports Radio, in the chat says that can't be your favorite song, the Connor Bedard song. It's a good song. Is it your favorite song? We'll play a little bit later.
What is that, guys?
This one. It's a good song. You're right. It might not rise to the level of favorite song ever.
I mean,
honestly,
it did win Song of the Year for a Grammy. So I mean, I think it's fine as a favorite song.
Here's the thing: this dude is just about to discover Pearl Jam. Like, this is awesome for him. This is how I feel when people haven't watched TV shows that are really great. It's like, oh, you've never seen so-and-so. I'm so jealous of you. You get to watch this now for the first time.
You wait till your kid gets a little older, Maggie. You're going to play Pearl Jam, and you're not going to get the reaction you want.
I agree with Perloff.
Yeah, it's really hard.
You had to be there? Is that what you're saying? It was one of those things you had to be there in the 90s to really understand the magic?
Sound is so different now that I think kids don't actually really appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, and I'm obviously grew up with rock and roll being a big deal. I think there's a lack of energy that you have in hip hop. They get used to much more fast paced songs and a lot more going on. I mean, EJ, does that sound right? Because you were younger.
I mean, yeah. I mean, well, the issue though within hip hop is that like you try to find someone who likes hip hop today, you try to play them, KRS-One or Public Enemy or Run DMC.
Slow.
They're gonna be like, "What is this garbage?" Like that's what you get, and it's really depressing.
It's disheartening.
I love it. We all kind of feel old, and music makes you feel old more than anything.
I love that this is what would make you feel old, is KRS-One has a lyric, "I'm a blunt getting smoked," and that's just too old.
Yeah, it's not good enough. Where's the purple drink?
Yeah.
Where's the scissor?
I'm a blunt getting smoked and I can't wake up. Too old. 855-212-4CBS.
Where's the purple drink?
Right in our chat, if you know what I'm talking about. Coming up, we'll talk about the Cowboys. Got to be on red alert this weekend. Why? We'll tell you.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's the reigning Fortnite champion. She's a Call of Duty legend. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Perloff, you got the Cowboys coming off a bye. Mike McCarthy, 11-5 as a head coach when coming off of a bye. So he's got the bona fides when it comes to, you know, using this break in a meaningful and good way. However, this is setting up to be a potential trap game here.
Wait, why you
for
guys
the
said
Dallas
that?
Cowboys?
Why are you scared of the Los Angeles Rams for the Dallas Cowboys? It's in Dallas. The Rams are not threatening.
The Rams do not get blown out. The Rams have probably the best coach in the league who's doing a lot more with less. And the reason why I say this is because you've got Philadelphia looming next week. So this could feel like a classic trap game where you're coming off the bye, but you're thinking about, oh, we got Philly and then the Giants back-to-back. Those are our division games. Those are really important if we're going to try to win the division, get home field advantage in the playoffs. And here are the Rams just sort of sitting there. You still have Kupp, who's awesome. You have Nakua, who's awesome. You have an ability here. Aaron Donald on the defense. Like, this is a sneaky one here for the Cowboys.
First of all, the Rams won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. It's not a trap game. And it's a high-profile team. It's an L.A. team. And the Cowboys practice in L.A. all summer. I don't think they're fully aware of who the Rams are. I just don't think the Rams are as dangerous as you guys think. I think this is a Micah Parsons going to destroy old Matthew Stafford game. This is a get back on track game to me.
No, this is a Matthew Stafford comes home game. This is a Matthew Stafford, Texas native, wants to put on a show. Yeah, same high school if you guys didn't know that. Or whatever, same Little League team.
Yeah, I think this is a really good spot for the Cowboys. And also, I think we underestimate the Cowboys because of that 49ers loss. That game just got out of control. I think Micah Parsons might have been right about that. He said after they got blown out 42-10, they were actually closer than you think. I just think the negativity around Dallas is too much. And the Rams stayed close against the Steelers. The Steelers have no offense at all, and they lost that game. The Cowboys have an offense. This is not nearly as scary a game as, in my opinion, as you guys think it is.
Have the Rams covered on every single game?
Yeah, but we're talking about wins and losses here.
Okay, but I'm just saying that's a good indication that it's competitive, right? Like, I don't think that the Cowboys can come in and think, all right, you want to get a little revenge after what just happened. Well, you got to play the Chargers to get the taste out of your mouth, but you want to show people that you're a great team. The Rams are not going to be the team where you get right against. They have shown that they have been very spry.
They didn't cover against Pittsburgh, and they didn't cover against Philly in 2 out of the last 3 games. And the Philadelphia game wasn't even as close as 23-14. They're just a very one-dimensional team. I mean, basically, if you're not and Kyron Williams got hurt, I'm not scared of the Rams. Just like I was not scared of the Bucs last night. The NFC has a lot of meh teams. And I think the Rams are closer to that.
Chris Godwin turns his head around a half a second later, and the Bucs walk out of Buffalo last night with the win of the year.
Yeah. Did they win?
No, they did not. Thank you.
Are the Rams?
Bills.
And by the way, is this about covering against the Cowboys, or this about the win and the loss here?
I'm talking about putting a scare into the Cowboys. And you know what happens sometimes in these close games, right? Like, that's the thing about the Cowboys. You want to see, and that's why they were taking so much out of the Chargers game. It's like, all right, we can win a close game here because they had been blowing teams out. This is going to be tighter than people think.
I don't think so. I think being in Dallas is a big advantage here. Listen, it's not a huge spread anyway, but I think this is a great spot for Dallas. They match up really well against them. The Rams, because they don't have a run game, it's going to really help the Cowboys defense. And Dak Prescott's playing pretty well. I think he played pretty well against the Chargers. If he decides to move his legs in the red zone, Dallas will fix everything. Maybe it's because they're going against the Eagles, but I think we maybe underestimate the Cowboys. I think they're going to be back to 12-5. I keep telling you, Mike McCarthy is a 12-5 coach. Doesn't mean anything for the playoffs. This Cowboys, they're righting the ship, and I think this is one of those get-right games. Even though they're coming off a win, I feel like we're going to see Micah Parsons make another statement because we've been talking about all these other defensive player of the years. We came into the season saying Micah Parsons could be an MVP of the entire league. This is the game.
You have Matthew Stafford, according to him, a bunch of buddies coming to the game. Lots of family. Okay. I don't know what that's going to do. But you know what I mean. He's going to be playing in front of a lot of people he wants to impress, I guess is maybe the point there. I don't know.
Matthew Stafford's been in the league 13 years. How many times has he played in Dallas?
He's 1-2 games in Dallas. A lot of those he was, he was actually
he was the Lions quarterback.
Yeah, he was playing for the Lions. Like
That's
there was
true.
no way that was going to win. Okay, let's hear from Jerry Jones. We have Jerry Jones has been so back and forth on how aggressive or not the Cowboys could be at the trade deadline, which is Tuesday.
I'm by nature active, and I'm by nature a risk taker. So don't come by unless you want struck at. So we will we will trade. There's no mistake about it, or we will make a deal. And but it's certainly got a high bar because I like our team.
Natural gas.
Jerry, don't call.
Please translate
don't waste
that
our
for me.
time. Don't call if you don't want to actually make a deal. Maybe they've been getting some BS sort of offers.
The funny thing about Jerry Jones is he says he's a risk taker, and we all think of him as a risk taker. They actually have drafted very conservatively. I mean, they keep going defensive and offensive line, which is very smart.
Yeah.
We all think it's probably Steven or somebody else in the front office who's sort of holding Jerry back from making the moves he wants to make. I don't think they do anything because they've actually been kind of a conservative team.
Yeah, it's a lot of bluster and bravado. I mean, they have made big trades. They traded for Amari Cooper in season. I mean, that was now
how many years ago was that
ago. But they still did. And you could argue that they should be looking maybe for a little more help on the back end after the trade season-ending injury. But Deron Bland has filled in pretty nicely for him. The other thing, did you guys see that the Rams kicker was Brett Maher, the guy last year for the Cowboys who got the yips at the end of the season? Remember that? He couldn't make a field goal in the playoffs and it ended up being a thing. They just cut him.
Yeah.
The Rams did because he
was terrible.
Might still have the yips, turns out.
This Jerry Jones quote was so incredible to me because in that same gaggle, and the Cowboys weren't rolling their footage by the time that he said this already, but in that same gaggle earlier, he said, quote, "I don't see anything heated up to a level that would cause something to happen. If we don't do anything at this trade deadline, we got a team that can get us where we want to go." So in the same gaggle, he's saying nothing's happening, but at the same time, we're going to make a trade.
Yeah.
But also, don't come at us with nonsense. Like, this was 3 Jerry Jones in one gaggle. It was really incredible.
Don't come by unless you want struck at.
Yeah. I listened to that 5 times. He's saying struck at.
Unless you want to strike out?
Struck
don't come
at.
by unless you want struck at.
Still don't know.
Nervous laughter from the media there. I don't think they knew what he was saying either. What about, the name that's getting thrown around a little bit? How about Derrick Henry to the Cowboys?
Saw a little of that.
They don't have really. Tony Pollard's great, but I'm not sure he's a workhorse back. That would kind of fit where the Cowboys are. They could go control the ball and win with defense. Not a bad fit by any means.
I just what would you have to give up for Derrick Henry at this point?
I
think it's your
second.
Oh no, that's too rich for me.
Cannot give a second-round pick for him.
I'm thinking fourth round pick, fifth round pick.
Why would the Titans give him up for a 5th round pick?
So they can try to have the worst record possible, so that they can get a quarterback finally.
Mike Vrabel will not let that happen.
That's one of his problems.
I mean, they just traded Kevin Byard to your Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, but the
signal's
but they
there.
had to pay. I don't know. Derrick Henry though. Derrick Henry's the face of the team. He puts seats in the butts in the seats. I don't think Derrick Henry can go for a 5th round pick. They just say no and just play it out.
I mean, when the Niners traded, Christian McCaffrey, I mean, they basically swapped 2 and 3s and then got a 4, I think, or a 5. Like, they didn't gain, like, the Panthers didn't get a 2nd-round pick in that trade.
It's also a big contract.
Wait, are you sure about that?
Yes, because I looked it up recently because I was looking at running back trades for Saquon Barkley. And, running backs aren't worth anything, not only, obviously, in the free agent market, but I think also in the trade market. Like, these guys just don't go for what we think. That Niners trade was weird. It was one of the more bizarre trades, but essentially they swapped picks for 2 or 3 rounds before the Panthers actually got a pick from the 49ers.
Yeah, the days of Trent Richardson getting traded for a number 1 pick are long gone.
Gosh.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes even at the trade deadline, like Bradley Chubb went for a lot. You could get guys who are coming up on their contract for. You could still get a 1st or 2nd.
But Bradley Chubb isn't
He's
a
young
running
player.
back.
Yeah, I just think.
He's an edge rusher, right?
Yeah, he's an edge rusher. That's a much more premium position right now.
But if you're the Titans, you're not taking a 5th round pick for Derrick Henry. What's the point? And if you're going to tank, you can tank with Derrick Henry there.
Here would be the other thing, right? Is this the last year of Derrick Henry's deal, right? So they would be potentially looking at a compensatory pick if he signed somewhere else, but he's not going to sign for big money. So I don't know how good that pick is going to be. So you might want to just get anything for him before he's not going to be on the team next year for the Titans.
So you think he goes for a low round pick?
I do. I think it's probably a little embarrassing, maybe on the surface, but at the same time, it'd be a much better situation for Henry. I'm sure he wouldn't care. He'd probably much rather be playing for the Cowboys right now. It's a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, I don't think it happens like that. The Titans, they've never said we want to tank. There's no indications that they want to tank. I mean, they got rid of Byard, but they don't want to tank.
Well, there was also a report from a couple of weeks ago that Derrick Henry might have been on the trade block. Who was floating that out?
Right, but it wasn't for a 6th round pick.
But you'd be stupid to trade a 2nd round pick for him.
Well, what if you're the Ravens?
again, you'd be stupid. Their offense is trying to throw the ball a lot more, first of all. And secondly, their offense looks great.
So that'd be about the 60 pick, though. They're also supposed to be heated after. They have some problems at running back because they're already thin.
Well, J.K. Dobbins obviously is out.
Yeah, so Gus Edwards is their guy, and their offense is good. Would you say they want to throw the ball? They also would like to have a consistent running attack. And yes, just because Lamar's throwing it everywhere, trust me, they would like to have Derrick Henry there. Are you kidding me? So I think the three teams are it's the Cowboys, the Ravens. The Bills have been mentioned with Derrick Henry as well, but I think James Cook looked good. Yeah, teams that want to throw the ball might not get him, but would you want him? If he was available for a 6th-round pick, why not?
Oh, of course, yeah, but again, we've seen this running back market is super depressed, and I know that Christian McCaffrey got traded last year and he got a big contract, but Christian McCaffrey looks like maybe the last of the guys who is going to get one of these big deals. 855-212-4CBS. Cowboys fans, what would you like Jerry to do at the deadline? And do you see this as a potential trap game here with the Rams? Because here's the other part. The coaching advantage goes to McVay. Even if it's McCarthy coming off the bye, we all know that McVay is the better X's and O's coach on the field than Mike McCarthy.
I don't know. I mean, this is about a touchdown spread, and I think it belongs there. The Rams, we don't see the Rams the same way. What game, since the first week where they beat Seattle handily, it's kind of been nothing but downhill.
They've been in every game. It's just been maybe a Matthew Stafford interception or two in the fourth quarter. But with Nakua and Kupp, they can move the ball. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, Cowboys fans, time to hear from you. Also coming up next. Okay, we got to get to college here. A lot going on right now and this weekend. We'll get to all the latest, including the one college football player who should have the inside track for the Heisman. We've got Michigan updates for you as well with that scandal. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Stream the NFL on Westwood One for free, sponsored by AutoZone. All season long, you can listen to every Westwood One broadcast of the NFL live on the NFL app by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports, or on the Odyssey app. Get in the zone, AutoZone. AutoZone's free battery testing and charging is available for free at your local AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply. Not a huge college football weekend coming up, Maggie, but I think it's really interesting. We're getting into November, so this is when the Heisman race heats up. I don't think you can win the Heisman in September and October. I think there's a lot of recency bias in the voting, but are we going to have a weird year? It doesn't seem like it's predictable at all right now.
Okay, so I think the player who should have the inside track on the Heisman right now is Marvin Harrison Jr. It's one of those things, Perloff, where if you asked somebody, an alien came down from outer space and you were like, all right, who's the best college football player? You'd probably say Caleb Williams. Well, he just won the Heisman, and the bar he would have to clear to win a second one is going to be crazy. Who's the second best player in college football? Marvin Harrison Jr. is the second best player. Like, it's almost like you got to zoom out 30,000 feet, and who do we think is going to be great on the next level? And all of those questions you would want to associate with the Heisman Trophy, in my mind at least. And all the quarterbacks ended up doing what we thought they might do, which is cannibalizing themselves. You have guys who have had great performances like a Michael Penix, but then you'll also have, a down game as well. Obviously, voters trend towards the quarterback. But this is a year where I think you look back and say, man, what was the story in 2023? It was Marvin Harrison Jr. We all know it.
Well, yeah, except that he came in with a high bar. He's playing the same exact season as last year. Now, keep in mind, last year his best game was against Penn State. This year his best game is against Penn State.
11 catches.
Yeah, he kind of owns an Indy Lions, so I'm not sure he keeps up this torrid pace.
But they have one of the best defenses and one of the best secondaries in the country.
Yeah, but he owned them last year, and he certainly owned them this year. So he's a Penn State killer. I understand what you're saying about the quarterbacks, but Ohio State's just not a great offense. So I think if you're talking about the story of the season, it's Ohio State's defense and all those first-rounders on the D-line and everything. I don't look at Ohio State and say, wow, that's like Devontae Smith won the Heisman with Alabama because they were throwing it all over the yard and killing people. You can't say Ohio State's offense is the story of the year. You look at the quarterbacks. I mean, Michigan, J.J. McCarthy, and you look at Jaden Daniels and LSU. I think the high-flying offense is that's the kind of offense that produces a Heisman, not what we're seeing in Ohio State.
Okay, see, I think that's an even bigger feather in the cap for Marvin Harrison. You're seeing like C.J. Stroud, that's not a blip. Like, he's doing this in the NFL. Clearly, he's had these great quarterbacks that's been throwing to him, and now he's got Kyle McCord, who's clearly not on the same level as those guys, and he's still putting up big numbers. You're right. This offense isn't what it was a year ago, and he's the best, biggest part of it. He's the only reason they have an offense.
Well, the other thing, too, is all the players are coming back. Travion Henderson's coming back. Igbuka is coming back. So I think he's going to have to share some targets. His numbers will go down just a little bit. They did last year, too. He put up 185 against Penn State, then never did that again. It's tough because Ohio State, I don't think McCord's that good. And I love McCord. He's from Philly. But I'm not sure he's going to get him over the finish line because of the recency bias thing.
Yeah.
This was October 20th. He had his big game against Penn State. They don't vote in October. So we'll see what happens at the end of the year.
Well,
Michigan's tough. The
big
vote's
game
going to be
against
coming
Michigan.
after that.
Big game against Michigan, and I think he does it. And I think
they're going to know what routes he's running.
It would also be like another kind of thumb in the eye of Michigan, who is at the center of a hailstorm right now. Not a hail to the victor storm, a just hailstorm. Because every day and every morning you're waking up and there are new details and new damning evidence and more accusations against Michigan. This morning, the latest, or last night, was that TCU in that semifinal game in the college football playoff was warned by every team in the Big Ten, basically, including Ohio State, that Michigan, their sign stealing went above and beyond any other team, and TCU instituted dummy play calls during that game. And what happened? They ended up winning the game. They tried to outfox and did outfox Michigan at their own game.
Yep. There's a bit of an assumption there that sign stealing was the reason Michigan was winning. That is still to be determined. So I think on that very topic, if Michigan goes out and thumps Penn State and Ohio State, who knows that Michigan steals signs, then can we say, okay, Michigan gets a pass because they're just good? And it's not that they're winning because of sign stealing.
Listen, I don't know if it matters what happens the rest of the year. I think this has stained Michigan now in a way. I'm not saying like you throw out everything they've done, but it's certainly stained the program in a way that is going to be lasting and one that is damaging. You know, look at the latest is just TCU. Yeah. And they even identified the guy Connor Stallions as the dude who was stealing the signs and had all the hand signals on the sideline. He's standing steps away from the defensive coordinator. And they were so pleased, according to one TCU staffer, that they got him a couple times. Like that he had the wrong plays. Like they took joy in the fact that they oopsie-dooped this dude because of how pervasive the sign stealing was.
No, it's pretty cool. Here's the issue, though. The entire sport does it, right?
Maybe not to this degree, though.
Maybe not to this degree. I saw a quote from Ohio State defensive coordinator Jim Knowles said he thinks 75% of the entire nation steals signs. That's 3 out of 4 schools. So are other schools going to go crazy going after Michigan with this one?
Okay, but I think this is where you tick off teams. And I think there's a reason why Michigan is the one who ends up getting busted here is because, yes, maybe there's a little honor among thieves or a little, hey, everybody does it. But clearly coaches believe that Michigan was overstepping, that they went too far, and now they're getting their comeuppance.
But the coaches are afraid that if they get Michigan for that, okay, what if they catch us? That we have to get the same penalty, so they might lay off this.
Well, according to the Yahoo, who's got the latest on all of this, it was a third-party investigator. It's like probably some kind of private investigator who were the ones who brought this to the attention of the NCAA. So if I were trying to guess where the money's coming from and who funded this investigation, I'm thinking rich Ohio State booster would probably be my first guess. Rich Michigan State booster might be my second guess. And anyone else who had an axe to grind with Jim Harbaugh would be my third guess.
All that is very true, but I would be surprised if there's an interview with Ryan Day, the Ohio State coach, later in the year, where he gives some sort of fishy answers on this topic. Because you're telling me Michigan's out there stealing signs, and Ohio State, who is as an amazing program as they are, they've never done this? No. Because that's the problem. I think coaches are a little worried about laying down the law in Michigan, because if they lay down the law in Michigan, then other schools could be next.
Listen, this is what the coaches are going to do. The coaches are going to use this to get helmets and get the signaling devices in helmets. Like that's what they're going to use this
Which
for.
It should happen anyway.
Which should happen anyway. And they're finally going to have to stop being as paranoid as they always have been. Now maybe they're paranoid someone's going to hack into the radio system or whatever. But that's what they're going to, the coaches are going to stand on the soapbox for getting microphones, not microphones, radios in the headsets.
Right. I'm saying I don't think you're going to hear a lot of coaches saying Jim Harbaugh should be fired or anything like that. I think the coaches are going to be conservative for the very reason that there's probably some form of this all over the place. And the other thing, too, is we're learning more and more about how this works, that people have been doing it off the TV feed and the All-22.
Yeah.
So that's why I understand the tentacles of this are growing and growing and growing. And I agree with you. It's going to be attached to this Michigan team forever, whether they win the title or not. But I don't believe that it provides a competitive advantage that people are making it out like right now.
Well, I don't. Now I'm not so sure about that.
Well, what if they beat Ohio State this year?
I'm probably going to maybe look at it a little cockeyed. Let's see. I don't know.
Well, they can't sign steal in this one.
No, they can't, but no, they should not be able to, obviously. And of course, Ohio State's going to change all their signs, and they're going to do everything humanly possible to make sure that this is,
right.
Because
did the Astros, in some weird way, sort of make up for the sign stealing that they did with the garbage can and everything by winning World Series later?
Title?
So I think the Astros got off the hook. I think Michigan has a weird way of getting off the hook. That being said, if sign stealing was so important, then they should lose this game.
We'll see. I mean, I don't want to make this just a referendum on the whole thing, because even if a coach doesn't come out on the record and say, I'm so ticked off at Jim Harbaugh, like this guy deserves to be fired, that'd be so rare anyway.
What about Jimbo and Nick Saban?
But like behind the scenes, like I think you're going to get more articles like this. You're going to get anonymous coaches who are just going to be saying things like this quote that was in Yahoo. Literally everybody we talked to knew, said one TCU coach. They'd say, just so you know, they steal your signs and they're going to have everything, so you better change them. Like that kind of stuff is just going to keep coming out. It's going to keep making Michigan look bad.
But the other thing, too, is how many other schools are getting involved. We've seen now South Carolina is heavily involved.
Yep.
Clemson, everyone's going back like, whoa, there was gigantic accusations against Clemson in 2020, and no one seemed to care about that one for some reason, because Michigan is, a lot of things are going on here. Jim Harbaugh, high-profile program, national champion favorite. So I just worry that this is going to be something that's done everywhere, and maybe that factors into the punishment or even the image of Michigan. Right now, it feels really, really bad. Will it feel so bad in 5 years? That's what I wonder. It might. I'm not totally discounting that idea, but I think if they can actually win their way into an escape hatch from this entire scandal.
So there's another part of this, which is you are dealing with like young men, young college football kids, right? Like college football student athletes. Don't call them kids, but to me they are. How are they going to handle this? Now the whole program's under scrutiny. Is this going to be too much stress, pressure, all that, like where you have everyone now, it feels like, coming at your program, making these allegations? You've got NCAA investigators on campus. By the way, they're not the only investigators on campus. Little news item leaked out yesterday, and not leaked out, I'm sorry. It was confirmed by an FBI source that the FBI is now looking into the email hacking scandal that happened at Schembechler Hall, where the co-offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach from last year was fired because he is allegedly was hacking emails inside the football offices in Michigan. Now, he hasn't been accused of a crime, but he has been fired.
Yeah, that hasn't affected them on the field. That story's been around for a year.
Now the FBI is involved? The FBI said this was of utmost urgency. It's like, what?
Yeah, but the players don't care about that. They might care about the sign stealing one, but maybe it galvanizes them. How do we know that this is going to distract them? Listen, when I was a sophomore or junior in college, I didn't really care about anybody except myself. So I'm not sure that
has that changed? No,
it has. Fair point. Well, it was way worse back then. I'm not sure this affects the team negatively necessarily. I understand the distraction thing, but I don't know. These are young football players who might be completely oblivious. They don't care about that email scandal because that's never been linked to the football program.
It's funny. We should ask them, have they ever heard of Pearl Jam?
Oh, those Michigan players?
Yeah.
No way.
Have they ever heard of Pearl Jam is the new question for young people, because Connor Bedard of the Chicago Blackhawks apparently had never heard of Pearl Jam. Do you think Pearl Jam cares about that? Are they miffed? Like, is Eddie Vedder just like,
Well, he's from Chicago.
Yeah.
He loves the Cubs. He loves the Blackhawks. He personally might be offended that the new face of the franchise doesn't know who he is.
Oh, right. I forgot about that aspect of
Right.
it.
Like they just played another show in United Center. They announced during their show that the team was retiring Chris Chelios' number. And then Connor Bedard goes, "Who are you?" Not a good start.
I wonder if maybe they're a little relieved. Like, I imagine if you're Eddie Vedder, it's kind of hard to, like, move around now, right? You can't just, like, go to dinner, right? You're too famous.
Oh,
it's
no,
like Taylor Swift. Like, she's too famous to
I
do
see
some
Eddie
stuff.
Vedder now. I barely recognize him. I think
Really?
he's totally fine at
You
this
don't
point.
think every person is going up to him like, oh my God, Eddie Vedder, or thank you for the music, stuff like that? Now maybe he can breathe a little if the younger generation doesn't know
If
who
Eddie Vedder walked right into this control room right now, I would think he was in another
CBS Sports Radio
or
audio engineer.
engineer, yeah, I wouldn't know who it was. And
But
I'm
he'd
sure
be
Pete
singing
would probably
Better
lose his
Man
mind.
holding that thing of wine. Those
Yeah.
are good clues.
The red wine stains would probably give it away. Although I don't know about the engineers here. Maybe they're really hitting the Merlot.
EJ, you are a very learned man, very exposed to different types of music. You know that there's been 17 Robins in the history of comic books. You're wearing one,
By the
I think,
way,
right
wearing
now.
one right now. Shout out to Dick Grayson, Nightwing.
You wouldn't know if
EJ
Eddie
has
Vedder
more
walked in the
advanced
room.
degrees than anyone in the room.
That's true too.
True, master's degree, yes. And I don't know. Yes, I don't know. I wouldn't know who Eddie Vedder was. No.
If he walked in,
Now, if you played me a Pearl Jam song,
you would know that.
I would say, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's a Pearl Jam song."
Would you know?
Right. So I hear this say, "Oh, this is like Pearl Jam," but
Wait,
I
would
wouldn't
you-
know what any of those guys look like.
Would you know Mick Jagger?
Yes, Mick
Okay.
Jagger is like he's to me like he's famous on a level that I think almost everybody knows. Even if you don't know his name, you kind of know. Oh, that's the guy that like does rock and roll.
I throw him out of here.
Has done a
He
lot of
didn't know
drugs.
that.
That's
Right,
the guy
like-
who does rock and roll.
And
It's
does a
amazing.
lot of drugs and like has had a lot of women. That's like you know who that is.
You know, everyone knows who Elvis Presley is, and that doesn't mean you were alive when. I mean, I hope, right?
Yeah, Elvis. Yeah, I would say so.
All right, with Steven Tyler?
Yes.
You know,
Steven Tyler is not Mick Jagger. Like for me in my head, it's like, oh, that's the guy.
Other
that-
guy.
Or looks
Other
kind of like
rock
Mick
guy.
Jagger and kind of is like him, but that's not him.
Paul McCartney.
Yes, definitely.
All right.
Like the boss, yes, because like I'm New
okay.
Yorker.
Yeah.
The dude from Metallica.
No,
No.
Wow.
Dave Grohl.
no.
Phil Collins.
Collins maybe.
Dave Grohl. Wait, you would recognize Dave Grohl? He's pretty visible.
No,
Gets
I
out
wouldn't
there a
recognize
lot.
him.
Do you
No
think
way.
the young people know that Dave Grohl was in Nirvana?
Definitely not.
Okay.
No.
No.
Well,
EJ,
Nirvana,
did you know that Dave Grohl was in Nirvana?
No,
Okay.
Did you know
Nirvana
they played
had-
the drums in Nirvana?
definitely not.
Well, but by the way, you would know Kirk. I think more people know Kurt Cobain, even
Right.
though than Eddie Vedder, right? Because Nirvana has a special lore.
Oh, because he died young?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he died, and it's
Like a Jimi Hendrix, Janis
it's like
Joplin thing?
Yeah, it's a memorable name, Nirvana. I think Nirvana is more historically impactful than Pearl Jam.
Here's a good name. Would he know Kurt Loder?
Kurt from MTV News,
Kurt Loder.
120 minutes. Now you're talking my language, Bilotti.
Probably not.
Man.
Kurt Loder is a like Pulitzer Prize winning rock journalist who everyone knows from MTV.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Would you, by the
No,
way,
I've seen this guy. This guy I would recognize.
You'd recognize Kurt Loder, but not Eddie Vedder. Is
I
an
gotta tell you,
I
amazing
wouldn't know
world
his
to live in.
name, but I would say, oh, like someone said, oh, he was a reporter. Oh yeah, no, that guy. I would know who that is.
My daughter is on the bus right now. I will text her. I don't think she's ever even heard of MTV. I don't think she knows what MTV is.
Wow.
I'm dead serious. What is MTV? Is it even
It's
on?
just- It's 24 hours of ridiculousness. Have you ever
Yeah.
turned there?
They haven't done
Crazy.
music in forever. She definitely hasn't heard of VH1.
No, but I mean, MTV gave us Jersey Shore was probably the last big thing they had, right? Which
Yeah.
has nothing to do with music, clearly.
But if you want to get Mag excited, start talking about TRL. That's wheelhouse.
Do you understand? That's at those. I probably watch so much TRL it adds up to days of my life that I can't get back.
Yeah, see, I watch TRL. Like that's
You
like,
do too.
Yeah. That's like, I mean, I was like 10, but like, yeah, like TRL was big. Carson Daly.
Yeah.
The people who show up: Justin Timberlake, Britney, Christina, Eminem. Like, yeah, that was. I was young, but that's in my wheelhouse.
You got that.
And you definitely wouldn't know who Alan Hunter was.
Oh, well, Alan Hunter's original MTV.
Oh, one of the original MTV.
VJs.
No chance.
Pete couldn't name a top 100 pop hit right now, but he's got Alan Hunter.
I know, like just beat up Taylor Swift. But Alan Hunter walks in the room. Everybody clear the way.
Look out.
He's like, they probably know who Hall is, but they don't know who Oates is.
I know who Oates is. And they're out of touch.
Yeah. Hall, hate him. Oates, a god.
Everyone loves Oates. Hall, mixed feelings.
Bogish has got headlines. Good morning.
Good morning again. So, relatively speaking, it was an offensive explosion for the Bills with the Bucs in town for Thursday Night Football.
Allen back to pass. Blitz coming. Fires to the end zone. Wide open to Gabe Davis. The touchdown maker.
Davis and Maker don't rhyme, but whatever. Chris Brown, Bills radio calling one of two Josh Allen TD throws. He also ran for one as the Bills survived the Bucs 24-18. Baker Mayfield's Hail Mary falling in the end zone as time expired. Chris Godwin didn't turn around fast enough to see it, and Bucs tight end Cade Otton might have been mugged by multiple Bills defenders in the end zone. Before all of that, head coach Sean McDermott liked what he saw from his offense.
It was Coach Dorsey, the offensive staff, and Josh and the players on offense. I mean, they got into a good rhythm. I mean, that was what I'm used to seeing, really, and it was fun to watch.
And Allen did all his damage.
Love it. The head coach is a bystander. Very fun to watch, guys. Good job, head coach. Listen, I know he's a defensive guy, but that's a funny way to put it.
Allen accounting for those 3 scores while aggravating his right shoulder issue in the second quarter.
Anytime you feel something in your throwing shoulder as a quarterback, alarms are going off in your head of, crap. But something that, again, we'll have to monitor and continue going forward with and making sure we're taking care of it.
Well, that's not good.
Yeah, that should end well.
That didn't sound great.
Especially when your only red zone offense is Josh Allen running the ball.
Yeah, you don't want your quarterback being like, oh, crap. That's the last thing.
Deshaun Watson said yesterday there is no timetable for his next return. He wouldn't say that starting last week in Indy was a mistake. P.J. Walker gets the nod this Sunday. Apparently, LeBron James did not want to be 0-2. A huge fourth quarter for him, 10 points in that final frame. L.A. outscored Phoenix 28-11 in the fourth, turning a 12-point hole into a 195 win. Kevin Durant scored 39 for the Suns, while Devin Booker and Bradley Beal sat out. Damian Lillard had 39 in his Bucks debut, a 118-117 decision over the Sixers. Giannis throwing in 23 points. Along the way, passing Kareem for the most field goals in Bucks history. As you've heard this morning, the NBA is investigating James Harden's absence last night. It may violate the league's new player participation rules. And again, there's a report that Harden tried to get on the team plane for this season-opening 2-game road trip and was turned away by team security.
Man, I want to see footage of that. How did it go? Did the guy put his arm out? James Harden is 6'5".
Yeah,
big dude.
Yeah.
Who's the security guard that stepped in front of James Harden?
You know how many security lines James Harden has bypassed getting into nightclubs and other entertainment venues? This is probably the first time he's actually been stopped by security.
That's a great point.
Somewhere.
He's probably like, I'm sorry, who are you? What is this?
Yeah, what is
this foreign to me.
What is that security? What does that mean? What is that on your chest? Bouncer? What?
And for hockey last night, the Avalanche shut out in Pittsburgh 4-0. That ends their record 15-game regular season road winning streak. And Fred Ridley, the head of Augusta National, said yesterday he doesn't foresee them changing their qualification rules for the next Masters. This applies to the live golfers. If you've already found yourself into Augusta, the various different ways, winning, top 10 finishes, you're still good. 18 guys were invited last year. But the PGA Tour, you get in if you win in the previous year before Augusta. That's not going to be extended to live golfers winning those events. So that little mini battle continues.
Oh, I thought it was funny. It's like if you've been in, people have already been in Augusta. I'm like, oh, rich people, white people.
No, there's multiple ways to qualify.
Yeah.
And so there are guys who have, 3, 4, 5 year entrance in.
Yeah, exemptions or whatever.
Exemptions, right. You can't earn new ones still on the Live Golf Tour.
Got it.
Yes.
By the way, I don't want to complain about my team losing, the Sixers Bucks, and we can tease this because I want a little time to explain why I think this. It made EJ mad in the morning. The NBA is a complete failure of a league. Complete failure. The 3 initiatives they had this offseason have already become an absolute joke. I'll tell you what they are, but I am so down on the sport right now after that Bucks-Sixers game because the officials were so out to lunch. And there's so many problems with the sport. Again, EJ is furious at me, so we have to be careful about this. Okay. I want to save it because I have 3 good reasons the NBA is already a disappointment. We're 3 games in.
Okay, I like that. Also, in the chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, also twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio. You can watch the show. We forgot about Downtown Julie Brown.
Oh, my gosh.
MTV
Mark
VJs.
Goodman. If you want to talk about original VJs, you're in my wheelhouse. Annika Sorensen.
Tabitha Sorensen, you mean?
Tabitha Sorensen.
Annika Sorenstam
was one
of the great female golfers of all time.
Great. Don't you remember? Don't you remember when she came on TRL and mini golfed with Old Dirty Bastard and Annika Sorensen? It was a great episode.
How did I miss that one? 855-212-4CBS. All right, coming back, Perloff rips apart the NBA. We'll do that next. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
I'm Kurt Loder. This is MTV News. For the first time since Wham toured here 3 years ago, George Michael will be playing outdoor stadiums in the U.S. on the just-announced final leg of his current tour. These are the October dates, and as you can see, with the exception of the Summit Arena in Houston, all the shows are at 50,000-plus football stadiums. Meanwhile, Michael's Monkey single has just arrived at the top of the Billboard chart, putting him in the rarefied company of Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston, the only other performers to score 4 #1 singles from the same album. Next month marks the 20th anniversary of the formation of Led Zeppelin, and the band will be celebrated with a 2-day Led Zepp extravaganza and record mart in Secaucus, New Jersey. The event, organized by some Maryland Zeppelin fans, will take place September 9th and 10th at the Meadowlands Hilton, and you can call this number for more information. The extravaganza will include displays of rare memorabilia and videos, plus performances by Zepp sound-alike bands, although there's no indication that Kingdom Come will actually be on hand. Are magazines entering a new golden age? The appearance of such stylish publications as Spy magazine in New York and the British-based Granta suggest that great writing is making a comeback. The latest evidence comes in the form of a new quarterly called Smart. The brainchild of former Rolling Stone managing editor Terry McDonnell, Smart covers culture in very high style. The debut issue features such fine writers as Bruce J. Friedman on Going Hollywood, David Black on the Hill Bandits of the Himalayas, and the one and only Hunter S. Thompson on George Bush, whom Thompson calls the guiltiest man in politics. There's also a very funny interview with Jack Nicholson and excerpts from George Plimpton's upcoming oral biography of Truman Capote and Jay McInerney's new novel, The Story of My Life. Smart's on sale now at $2.95. That's the news for now. Stay tuned for more music on MTV.
MTV News. You hear it first.
Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Michigan football program is now dealing. Welcome back. Maggie and Perloff. Well, as teased before we went to break, Perloff is up in arms over the NBA. Okay. He's already wants to write off the league. He's about to take a blowtorch to the league.
I'm not even.
The floor is yours.
You can't blowtorch something that's already dead. Wow. No, it's not dead. But the NBA, the NFL implements all these rule changes. Some of them work, some of them don't, but some of them work. The NBA, everything they talked about this offseason is already completely fallen apart. Load management. So they have these new rules about load management, and guess what I'm watching last night? A bunch of G League players on the Suns against the Lakers. So that's not working. In-season flopping or in-game flopping. They call one against EJ's Knicks the other night, but last night the critical call on Bucks Sixers, Jay Crowder, who's flopped more than any human being in the planet, including soccer players, obviously flops. The whole arena knows it. They call a foul on the Sixers, did not catch that one. They'll probably fine him later. But what good does that do? NBA players don't care about it. It's a $2,000 fine for flopping. So flopping is bad. My biggest problem, though, is the last 10 seconds of an NBA game.
Oh, it
is so excruciatingly painful. The reviews and the timeouts. In the history of the sport, is there ever been a team that ran out of timeouts in the NBA? The NFL timeouts are so precious. Yeah. The NBA, it's exciting. It's exciting. We're getting towards the end. And then, it just slows down. Commercial. Every single game. So that, with the replays in there now, it's making it even longer than ever before. So they're losing the end of game. People are flopping as much as they ever have. And the stars aren't out there. So what did the NBA achieve this summer?
Man, you're so right. I think the NBA and the TV networks know that the last 5 minutes are basically the only thing that matters in an NBA game. So that's where they put all the ads. So they just backload them. But also the replay review, I want them to get it right, but there's got to be a way to speed this up. Now,
exactly. They get it right, but do it faster.
Now, here's the thing about the load management. Last night, Devin Booker really does have a toe injury, and Bradley Beal really does have a back injury.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Why
right.
would you load manage game 2 of the season?
I don't ask me, but you think Bradley Beal is really hurt? I don't know. Maybe he is. I feel like teams are looking at this and they're looking at the analytics and minutes played and gearing up for the playoffs. The problem is the NBA regular season feels meaningless because everyone's gearing up for the playoffs.
It is meaningless, and they only have themselves to blame for that. I mean, diehard people who love basketball, okay, you'll live and die with every game, but the playoffs are 2.5 months. If you're a casual fan, you can get caught up pretty quickly. So the other thing, though, is the NBA came out last year and said, we've done our own studies, and load management doesn't keep guys healthier. That was always the thing. Yeah. It was going to keep guys healthier. It was going to keep guys fresher. Stars will be able to play in the playoffs. And then they came out last year and said, well, it's not really the case. That's why we're implementing these new rules.
Was that the same firm the NFL hired to say that the artificial turf was just as safe as the grass? Get out of here. I don't care what NBA, paid for to get this study. That means nothing to me. Nothing. And if you think load management doesn't work, then first of all, you're crazy. And second of all, why would teams do it?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone watched Kawhi Leonard win a title in Toronto. It was just like, yep, this is the way. And I don't know if that's necessarily true. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I got to push back on this load management thing because it's starting to drive me crazy. And I feel like the narrative is being hijacked for what are some load management examples, which is what the Clippers do, which in fact Tyronn Lue said that they're not going to be doing nearly as much this year. And what's happened in Phoenix just this week, where you have guys that are actually injured that can't get on the court. Like, I think that this has gotten out of control where we say, a star's not playing. Oh, load management, NBA sucks. Like, it's not. Like, there are guys who have injuries and then they miss games. That happens. Like, this idea that you're not going to have guys miss games at all is ridiculous. We've had guys in the history of the NBA always missing games.
Wait, here's a question. How does this actually work where Devin Booker is a toe injury, okay? Mm-hmm. who's the independent doctor that has to come and don't they have to verify that the injuries are real?
Well, I'm not sure.
Yes. Did they call somebody from like the local hospital to come down and be like, wiggle your toe?
Didn't Woj say they weren't sure in this case if they were going to send out the independent doctor? I feel like they
you get like
they
a
kind
grace
of bought,
period.
I think they bought the Booker injury, right?
Maybe
Because Woj said it was a maybe situation that they'll send the independent doctor. But here's the thing, EJ, I'm speaking as a fan though. Last night, 10 o'clock, I want to watch Devin Booker and Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant play against LeBron and Anthony Davis, and I'm just not getting that as a fan. Yes, your logic makes sense, and maybe there are real injuries, but you understand the dissatisfaction.
Right,
like the NFL delivers every
NFL,
game.
There are injuries that happen, and guys miss time. Like that's the thing I don't understand about this is that in the NFL, guy like Deebo Samuel didn't play on Monday Night Football in a game that a lot of people wanted to watch. Does that mean, the NFL is lame because Deebo Samuel didn't go out there with an injury that maybe if it's a playoff he'd play through? Of course not.
But the NFL is making all these crazy rules to protect the quarterbacks because they know that is the lifeblood of the sport, to have the star quarterback. It's not Deebo. It's really the quarterbacks that matter. You have to have them out there. That's their number one priority. And honestly, they try their hardest. It doesn't always work. But you don't get that sense from the NBA.
Well, I also think the reason why like guys like Charles Barkley and others will criticize it is first just guys sitting out, right, which is what they want to totally curtail. But also I think easy for me to say, but do you want guys maybe trying to gut it out a little bit for the sake of it? Like Devin Booker has a toe. Listen, toe injuries are big, especially basketball. Oh my God, your feet. Ever see an NBA player's feet? Oof, is ugly looking feet. But is he better at 50% than or 60%? Is it worth it to have him try to gut out a game?
But if we're going to talk about science, though, and talk about effects with injuries and how healthy these guys are, I mean, there have been plenty of stories of teams observing players through the draft process and getting their medicals and seeing guys who have wear and tear that, is akin to a player that's played 15 years in the NBA, in part because of the amount of AAU basketball these guys play. You're playing 2-3 times a day when you're 14, 15 years old. These guys are more brittle than they were 30 years ago, where you're playing one sport, you're taking 5 months off, and then you're going back to it. I think there's a reality that the sport is different that people aren't accepting, and they're just pointing to, guy didn't play, load management.
Well, let me tell you why they're not accepting it. Because it's an 82-game schedule with 10 teams in each conference make the postseason. The regular season means nothing. They got to cut 15 games out off the top, and they need to cut the playoff teams. Otherwise, it's like having an NCAA tournament with 85 teams in it. Like, nobody cares about college basketball regular season for the same reason, because it's totally meaningless. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I wanted to watch a fun game last night, and I'm not getting it. I got one fun game. I wanted two.
How can you say you got to see Kevin
Because I never heard of that dude who was scoring for the Suns.
Goodwin scored 38 points. He's playing against the best player in the world. You're talking about how many times that KD and LeBron have not played because of various different issues. Well, last night they couldn't rest Kevin Durant, so he went out there and played. He dropped 38 points at that Crypto.com arena. They lost a close game.
Well, EJ, I'm a Devin Booker super fan, so that's really what I was excited
there's
about.
Like 3 of those around in America. Like this idea that Devin Booker is going to somehow move the needle. Like, come on.
It's Perloff and 2 Kardashians.
Yeah, I was about to say.
That's the extent of the fan club.
Which one is he dating? Or was they broke up?
I have no idea.
They broke up, didn't they?
I didn't know that.
I'm almost sure that that they broke up. He's got to focus on the season, but I guess he's got a toe injury. By the way, I got a response from my daughter that I'll save on whether she's heard of MTV and Pearl Jam.
Oh, okay. We'll have to save that. We'll get into it. That's the big question. Young people today, have they ever heard of Pearl Jam? Connor Bedard of the Blackhawks never heard of Pearl Jam before and is about to live in Chicago. So I think that's going to change. 855-2124-CBS, 855-212-4227. Coming up, we do get another twist in the Michigan sign stealing scandal. What's the latest? Tell you what, it's not good. Give you that in a minute.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining.
I'm Kurt Loder. This is MTV News. For the first time since Wham toured here 3 years ago, George Michael will be playing outdoor stadiums in the U.S. on the just-announced final leg of his current tour. These are the October dates, and as you can see, with the exception of the Summit Arena in Houston, all the shows are at 50,000-plus football stadiums. Meanwhile, Michael's Monkey single has just arrived at the top of the Billboard chart, putting him in the rarefied company of Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston, the only other performers to score 4 #1 singles from the same album. Next month marks the 20th anniversary of the formation of Led Zeppelin, and the band will be celebrated with a 2-day Led Zepp extravaganza and record mart in Secaucus, New Jersey. The event, organized by some Maryland Zeppelin fans, will take place September 9th and 10th at the Meadowlands Hilton, and you can call this number for more information. The extravaganza will include displays of rare memorabilia and videos, plus performances by Zepp sound-alike bands, although there's no indication that Kingdom Come will actually be on hand. Our magazine's entering a new golden age. The appearance of such stylish publications as Spy magazine in New York and the British-based Granta suggest that great writing is making a comeback. The latest evidence comes in the form of a new quarterly called Smart. The brainchild of former Rolling Stone managing editor Terry McDonnell, Smart covers culture in very high style. The debut issue features such fine writers as Bruce J. Friedman on Going Hollywood, David Black on the Hill Bandits of the Himalayas, and the one and only Hunter S. Thompson on George Bush, whom Thompson calls the guiltiest man in politics. There's also a very funny interview with Jack Nicholson and excerpts from George Plimpton's upcoming oral biography of Truman Capote and Jay McInerney's new novel, The Story of My Life. Smart's on sale now at $2.95. That's the news for now. Stay tuned for more music on MTV.
MTV News. You hear it first.
Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
She can put away a large pizza by herself. He's allergic to cheese. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Well, that one got a little tight last night. The Bills were comfortably in control, up 2 scores going into the fourth quarter, and then the Bucs go on what felt like a 100-play drive that gained about 60 yards and ends up scoring. They had a shot at a what would have been a game-winning Hail Mary, but it fell short in the end zone. If Chris Godwin had just really turned his body around a second sooner, they would have had the win of the year, but didn't happen. Bucks lose, Bills escape with a win.
How come the Bills defensive backs just tackle every Tampa Bay receiver? Have they ever been coached at all? Like, who's coaching this defense? And I thought offense was the problem.
Yeah, the head coach is who's coaching the defense. The defense is a bit of a shell of itself because of all those injuries. But you're right. You know what it reminded me of in the end zone? There were so many Bills players just like on the ground. It was almost like, EJ loves comic book movies. It's like when the superhero punches out like 5 guys with one punch, and they're all just like the henchmen are all just laying on the ground.
I thought you were going to go with Ken Burns' Civil War documentary where it's fields of, a little darker for me.
Yeah, thank you, Perloff. So anyway, Bills do get the win. So a little bit of okay, maybe they're back because Josh Allen had a very typical Josh Allen game. You guys know I'm a big-time Bills fan. It didn't do that for me. It was great to see the offense playing better. It was great to see them get a win if you're a Bills fan, but this does not put them any closer to being a Super Bowl contender. If that was an actual good team on the other side with the Tampa Bay Bucks, this would most likely have been a loss. I don't
agree with because they should have won, 42-7?
Probably. I mean, if you're at the goal line, and this has happened now a couple times, the Bills have not figured out the goal line, which I feel like should be one of the easier places to score from. And I'm talking about the 1 yard line right in front of the end zone. Instead of having 6'5" Josh Allen, who's 280 pounds, they decide to put him in shotgun and throw a pass that probably should have been a pick six. And they leave points on the field in a way that is, when you play the better teams, you're never going to be able to win.
Right, but they also were really conservative last night. They had a bunch of fourth and shorts in
the second half,
Tampa Bay territory where they decided to punt the ball. They outgained him by almost 200 yards. Their offense was nearly perfect. He was 7 of 13 on third down. They could have scored way more points if they needed to.
See, I didn't mind the conservative play in the second half because you got to play the game you're in. That's the problem with the Bills at times. They don't play their opponent. They play themselves. Like, you play the Jets when Aaron Rodgers goes out after the fourth play. You got to change your game plan a little bit. You're playing the New York Giants, who are coming in with a backup quarterback. You got to change the game plan a little bit. So at least they understood this time you can play conservatively with a 2-score lead, but it did get tight at the end.
Well, it's funny because Tampa Bay said, we're going to make Josh Allen drive down the field. We're going to give him a bunch of 8-yard passes.
Yeah.
Teams have been doing this all over the NFL. You saw the Jets did that to Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. They're like, go ahead, have an 18-play drive. Eventually, you're going to screw it up. Just no explosive plays. Last night, Josh Allen finally settled into that and didn't try for the explosive plays. You're right, that's a good thing. But I don't know. If you make Josh Allen do that week in and week out, I think eventually he'll make a mistake. That's the fear with the Bills.
Well, of course. And he did have one pick that did set up the score for Tampa Bay. Josh Allen talking about his shoulder. Can we hear that, please? Because it is sore, but they get a few extra days before they play the Bengals.
Took a little fall on it and just felt a little funky about it, but just trying to keep it warm and keep it loose. I'll be sore for a couple days, but we'll be fine.
All right. So he also said that when he did hurt it, he thought to himself, "Oh crap."
Oh, that's not good.
That's not good. Never want your quarterback thinking, "Oh crap," about their shoulder.
I mean, would you say the Bills need Josh Allen to go anywhere? Because he's their best runner, he's their best passer, he might be the real MVP of the league. I'm not sure. I guess Lamar Jackson, Baltimore, but is there any team that is more dependent on their quarterback to do everything? Mahomes a little bit, but Mahomes has a lot going on there in Kansas City. Buffalo is only Josh Allen.
What do you think their record would be without him?
I mean, I saw Kyle Allen warming up last night, and at least he said Allen on the back of his jersey, but that's the best thing going. I think that might be the biggest drop-off. I think Lamar's in the same boat a little bit. They need him. He does everything. Mahomes. Even Jalen Hurts is not I think Josh Allen is the most valuable player.
I still think the Ravens have shown they can still make the playoffs even when Lamar Jackson misses games. They can't win a Super Bowl, of course.
Right. They went 2-2 last year without him, and then they lost in the wild card.
Lost in the wild card, but their defense is so good. You take Josh Allen off this team with the injuries they have on defense right now, this is a 5-win team.
What are the Chiefs without Patrick Mahomes? They're probably okay. He got hurt in the playoffs, and who was it? Chad Henne at the time stepped in and did well.
I think the team that actually would be able to withstand a quarterback injury the most is actually the Dolphins. Not because I'm such a Mike White defender who's the backup, but because the run game, you can get the ball to Tyreek Hill. I don't think you have to be the MVP of the league to get the ball to Tyreek Hill.
But they really struggled last year when Skylar Thompson was.
They almost beat the Bills in a playoff game.
But in the regular season, they really struggled when Tua went out. I think
they're better. They've guarded against that a little bit more now, don't you think?
Nope, I don't. I think Tua is maybe underrated. He blew me away in that Eagles game. The one team, the Chiefs with Andy Reid, he's always done incredibly well with backup quarterbacks. Which speaks to Patrick Mahomes. I think he is partly an Andy Reid product. That sounds like a huge insult.
You're wrong.
Patrick Mahomes lands in Detroit or lands somewhere else. He's not Patrick Mahomes.
I think that if Patrick Mahomes was in Buffalo, the Bills would have a Super Bowl right now.
Maybe, but they're right near a Super Bowl anyway. If he lands in...
Are they? You just said that they're the one team that if the quarterback goes out, they would not... I think they'd be a 5-win team. Josh Allen does everything for them.
They've won 13 games multiple times. I'm saying if he went to Arizona or Detroit or one of these lesser teams, Andy Reid, trust me, if Patrick Mahomes goes down tomorrow, he's going to get a backup, but we don't even know who it is to be really good. He always does.
Well, we know that the Bills could not withstand real injuries to Josh Allen, and so that was a little bit of a nerve-wracking moment last night. Meanwhile, on the Bucs, on the other side, listen, it's a wrap for Todd Bowles, I think. He's a great defensive mind and a great defensive coordinator, but it's so conservative. It's so conservative. Like, I think it's got to be infuriating to have just watched basically a very similar team with Tom Brady win a Super Bowl. Like, pretty similar team. And now watch this. It's like, and I know Baker Mayfield's not Tom Brady. I get the rising tide lifts the boat.
That's a pretty big difference right there.
I'm talking about 45-year-old Tom Brady. Like, this should be the bones of a very good team, and they're not. They had 11 penalties last night. Like, it's not just the fact that they don't have Tom Brady anymore. They also do a lot of dumb things.
Well, they were pretty bad last year. What were they, 8-9? I know they made the playoffs, but they're similar. They're 3-4 now. They're not so dissimilar from last season. 2 years ago, the offensive line was a little more put together. Yep. They were healthy. They were younger. The defense is okay. They're not great either. I think Josh Allen picked them apart pretty easily.
Yeah, he did. So Bills get a little mini bye. That the Bengals come up next. As for the Bucs, their next opponent... I mean, listen, they're still going to be alive in the NFC South.
It's got to be. It's always Atlanta.
No,
okay.
It's the Texans.
Yeah, they have. I thought the Bucs could tank. Maybe they have nothing but easy games.
It's going to be a little bit hard. One thing that the Bucs do have going for them, they are not Michigan football right now. Michigan football is in the middle of it with the sign stealing scandal, where every day, Perloff, you get another drip or drab or news item or something coming out. So yesterday we found out that the NCAA is like on campus doing an investigation. So, I mean, Keystone Cops a little bit, but it's a headline for sure. I don't know how, the NCAA seems a little toothless right now, but they are on campus doing an investigation. Then later on in the day, we get this from Yahoo, which is TCU in the game they beat Michigan in the college football semifinal, that they not only got the heads up from multiple Big Ten schools that Michigan's sign stealing was more robust than any other team they'd faced. TCU went as far as to institute dummy play calls during that game just to throw Michigan off the scent. And what happened? TCU, as a touchdown underdog, ends up winning that crazy game.
Yeah, I mean, that looks bad. I will give you that. It's funny because Yahoo used to break all the recruiting violation stories. They've had nothing to do since NIL came back, and now they're back. They're like, oh, finally we can sink our teeth into something. I just want to warn you right now, the big picture is if a lot of schools do this, even if Michigan pushed it further, that's a problem for the sport. Because if you lay down the hammer, then what if Alabama sent one scout one time? You got to lay down the hammer everywhere, because if it's a rule, it's a rule.
Well, here's the thing. I think that somebody wanted to make an example of Michigan, right? As you like to say, if you're going to cheat, you can't get 100. Yeah. That's going to be giving it away. They went too far, obviously.
The second they laminated something, they were in big trouble, and they laminated some sort of signal sheet.
I know. Obviously, who laminates something? You can never rip it up. Like, you can rip up the evidence. You can't flush it.
I always think that I should laminate more things. When there's an important, password or something, I say, honey, we should get this laminated so we don't lose it.
Yeah.
Like, you can't lose something with lamination on it.
Yeah, I know. Then that is foolproof.
Yeah. like a Waffle House menu or something. But honestly, the fact that he did laminate that says like this is a big operation. Had to go down to Kinko's. I mean, come on, a lot of effort here.
This is like that's your whole Tuesday afternoon.
Also, the spreadsheet involved with Connor Stallions. You know, we don't work in a real kind of corporate place, but my wife does, and anyone who can do really good things on Excel is incredibly valuable. I think we're underestimating how good of an organizational guy. All those signs he steals, that's a lot of work to make those signs into something reasonable, right?
This guy's a former Marine. I mean, he was organized, a lot of information, and relaying that information that he stole to the team, and therein lies the no-no, especially if he was videotaping it.
Stole seems like a strong word.
Well, listen, this is why this scandal is so funny in some ways, right? I'm sure it's not funny to other college football coaches, but it is a little silly because we don't know exactly how impactful it is. All I know is that I don't think Michigan would be laminating things if it didn't matter. And I don't think TCU would have gone out of their way in a college football playoff semifinal to institute dummy play calls if they didn't think they were getting an advantage. I thought it was funny. You know, Deion Sanders had a quote the other day that said, "Hey, I can mail you my game plan. You still have to try to stop me." And an anonymous staffer on a rival team said, "Man, I can't wait to play Deion then." Because if he's not changing his signs or if he's not taking this seriously, well, the rest of college football is taking this very seriously and very paranoid about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Deion is actually in the playbook. I think Sean Lewis is doing all the game planning on that side of the ball. So anyway, regardless of that, I like the quote from the Ohio State defensive coordinator: 75% of the nation is using some sort of sign stealing thing. Now, the thing is, it's not illegal to steal signs because you can watch the All-22 and get information. So in my mind, also teams should be changing signs anyway, right? Because you're doing it in the open.
They should be, but I guess what's funny about that, well, you can't go videotape ahead. That's like what the crux of this investigation is
about. But people have said you could get a ton off of TV, almost 90% of what you need.
You can get a lot of it off of television. So meanwhile, you got Michigan now with other teams and programs kind of piling on, and this was a third-party investigation who got all the info and was tipped off about this. So Ohio State boosters.
Man, I got to tell you, I'm more excited for this Michigan-Purdue game than I ever would have been otherwise.
It's a referendum for sure. I don't think Purdue's the right opponent here. If we had Ohio State-Michigan this week, then it would be something.
Oh, that game, that is already generally the game of the year. If they both go in with a chance to go to the Final Four, this is really the game of the year. No offense to all these Colorado games. Who's not going to watch that game to see the drama, the signs, everything is going to be fantastic.
Bad blood of getting just even worse here with Michigan. So, okay, we got Bills last night and Bucks, game that came down to the wire, weirdly, with a botch Hail Mary at the end by the Bucks. You've got this Michigan scandal, which takes yet another step towards the ridiculous, and that is not going away. We also have a conversation about music that's been happening this morning because Connor Bedard, the phenom for the Blackhawks, had no idea who Pearl Jam was. So that got us into a conversation about other things that young people might not know, and we did some research.
So I asked my 13-year-old daughter, Lucy, have you ever heard of MTV? She responded, sort of. It like showed music on TV, right? Question mark. And
yes.
Then I said, have you heard of the band Pearl Jam? She said, I think you have mentioned it, but other than that, no. Okay. That's not good. And we have a poll up, EJ?
We have a poll up. So we asked the question simply, have you ever heard of Pearl Jam? And then we put in parentheses, and if you haven't, leave a reply with how old you are, which may be weird, but whatever. We did it. It's already out there. So 98.9% say yes, 1.1% say no. There are 2 replies, so at least 2 people voted saying that they do not know Pearl Jam. One said they were 43.
No.
Another person.
I think he misunderstood the question. I think he just put his age in there.
Older than Eddie and not Haskell. So that was a joke.
Yeah, that's an old-time joke. Eddie Haskell, I think, is from Leave It to
Beaver.
Leave It to Beaver.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We really need to put this actually out on, I think Twitter is the wrong medium I think we need to put this on our TikTok
Yeah,
somehow.
That'd be an interesting experiment to see the poll result on TikTok.
I bet on TikTok it's probably 99% to 1% the other way because everyone on TikTok is under the age of 10.
I wonder if we send that poll in a letter, how it would react.
Yeah, it's a carrier pigeon.
Yeah, an old-fashioned. We could do
We write an op-ed to the newspaper.
We could call home phone, see, excuse me, ma'am, have you heard of Pearl Jam?
Hey, wait, by the way, last night in the game, Al Michaels said, don't turn that dial. As they were going to commercial break when it was a one-score game. And I was like, don't turn the dial. That's an old one, even for me.
Yeah, don't leave Amazon and go back to TV so you can watch a Syracuse game and the Sixers game.
Yeah.
So annoying again last night. I'm sorry.
This is Perloff's personal hell.
I'll be honest, I'll agree with Perloff. It is annoying. Because for me, I had to turn on my Xbox to have Amazon Prime on.
Yeah.
So then every time I want to go back to the basketball game, I have to switch my input to go to my cable to watch the basketball game. And it's just like, and yes, I know I have an iPad. It's literally right here, and I could have just pulled it out. But I came home from teaching last night. I didn't have time for that. I wanted to sit down and watch any of these games, and that was it.
You know, I forgot. We actually have a good focus group of young people right with your journalism class.
That is true. Yes.
Ask them if they've ever heard of Pearl Jam.
That'll be their homework this week.
Have you heard of Pearl Jam?
Have you ever heard of Pearl Jam? Also, make sure your pitches are better than this week.
Well, what's the journalism class you teach?
I teach video fundamentals. So, yes, a radio guy is teaching people how to do video. But
More
that comes
multimedia.
That comes back to TV background. So, yeah, we're teaching them today. They had to update their pitches for their final story for our mock broadcast. They did a very good job this week. Very pleased. We had to upgrade from last week. It was too many ideas, not real pitches.
Wait, did you have to like throw the book at them? Like, are you a hard ass teacher?
No, most people this is my second year teaching. Last year, my students, because I had no idea. I teach the whole year. I had no idea how they felt. They said that I was one of the nicer, more understanding teachers.
Well, that sounds right.
Which I don't know. Like if you're a head coach though, and like do you want to be known as the nice coach? You get kind of run over, and eventually you get thrown out.
You're a player's coach.
Well, I'll tell you right now,
definitely a player's coach.
My father-in-law is a professor. If you hand out A's, you're going to get great reviews, and you're going to get a lot of money as a professor. So honestly, everyone knows the game. That's why colleges are kind of a joke now, because the professors who give out more A's get better reviews and get rehired.
You just keep going here.
That's so funny. I didn't feel like when I was in college, I was leaving a review for any of my professors.
Yeah, it's the Yelp era.
Yelp?
Yeah, it basically is. It's a huge, and EJ, what you're talking about, that's a real deal. Like teachers need good reviews.
A's for everybody.
Yeah, I was really nervous because it was my first year teaching. So like basically the students said I was an unprepared loser. I would have been gone. I wouldn't be back this year. So yeah, it is a big deal. And they have to take it seriously. We have to do it in class. We have to take class time to do it. We don't want to send them away because there's a thought that if you send them to do it on their own, they won't actually do it. Now it'll actually be an advantage for a professor. So it's a big deal.
Yeah. By the way,
can I just speak for everybody when I say kids today?
Well, college is now awful. I don't know if you guys got that memo, but it's a terrible place. Everybody gets A's, and it's become a total joke. That's what I'm hearing out on the street.
Well, it's not my students, because every time they talk to me, they complain about how their other professors are hammering them with work in tough situations.
Good thing it's not expensive or anything. Pete, you wanted to say something?
Oh, no, I was just agreeing with everybody.
Yeah, there you go. 855-212-4CBS. No.
Thank you, Pete.
Bilotti is old
You're
school.
welcome. Be all week.
We learned more about how old school Pete Bilotti is.
Yes.
We're going to have to save that.
Oh, yeah.
I was shocked. We're still we've known each other for a while, Pete, but I'm still like really getting to know you. Did not see this coming out of you.
Oh,
Don't say it. We're going to save it.
I'll save it.
Wait, though. I don't even know this. I can't wait.
Pete Bilotti, old school.
It is crazy to me because anyone who's a fan of the Dan Patrick Show knows that there was another Danette named Todd Fritz. I swear you're the exact same person as Todd Fritz. It's uncanny.
I am, actually.
Do you know him?
Separated at birth.
He's the world's biggest Hall & Oates fan. I don't know if Todd is. I get the sense that you work in the same music milieu.
Well, we didn't break it down. Does he like Hall or Oates?
Yeah.
It's a big question.
That one Oates solo album is his favorite.
855-212-4CBS. Okay, a lot more to do, including we got trade deadline stuff. We got the one NFL game that is going to be the most telling this weekend. There are no teams on buys this week, so everybody is playing, and this is the most important game of the weekend. We'll tell you which one next. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
redefining his legacy as one of the more problematic. Fairfield by Marriott is the official hotel partner of the NCAA. With over 1,000 locations around the country, you'll always have the home field advantage. Visit Fairfield.com to book your stay. On the slate this weekend, Maggie's 6-1 Oregon Ducks go against the 6-1 Utes in Salt Lake City in a likely national championship elimination game. Isn't that funny that Utah is still in the picture? Meanwhile, number 1 ranked Georgia travels to Florida for a classic clash with the Gators. If Utah gets to the Final Four this year without their starting quarterback all season long, that would be a story.
That'd be amazing. That'd be like a Kyle Whittingham, put him on some kind of Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, so their quarterback was on the farm, Bryson Barnes, just a month ago. It's incredible.
I thought he worked at Lowe's. Wasn't that the story? Or Home Depot or something?
Am I making this up? I think he was a pig farmer at one point.
The legend of this dude just keeps growing and growing. It's like, did you hear he once saved a burning kindergarten?
Yeah, he's a pig farmer. That's amazing. This would be a great story. Honestly, Oregon has no excuse to lose to a backup quarterback with Utah. I think I want to see an Oregon-Washington rematch.
Yeah, I think everybody does.
You lost your first game there, but that would be super fun.
Yeah, but I kind of like this Utah team a lot.
Oh, they're fun.
They're fun. I like a guy who's got an off-season job. It's like a throwback, before athletes just got paid all this money. It's like sometimes you had to have a summer job, and I like their quarterbback had to work at Home Depot or we're at Lowe's or whatever. It's great.
Yeah,
and actually everyone never hurt anybody.
And the guy at least he can run. He's obviously not going to pass like Cam Rising would have. Such a funny year. The Pac-12 in its last year has all these good teams, and they're cannibalizing each other. Of course.
I know. It's the final send-off.
Yeah.
This is the deepest conference in the country before it disbands.
And Pac-12 always finds a banana. It might be the best year they've ever had, and they could get nobody in the Final Four for that very reason.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. 855-212-4CBS. So we found out just how old school Pete Bellotti is. I didn't know this about you, Pete.
Oh, boy.
Bogish tipped me off, so take it up with him. What a good friend I am. I just totally outed Bogish.
I knew it would be coming from him, though.
You don't use GPS?
I use GPS.
I was told you do not use GPS.
I use it at the wrong time, so.
Wait, what?
So
GPS, Bellotti apparently not a big fan. What do you have, like a map? Or like
I don't use a map. I don't use GPS at the right times. Like this morning when I got stuck in an hour of traffic delay.
Okay. The right time for GPS is every time you get in your car.
Yeah, I'm used to just turn on the radio and going.
I'm not going to say, people in my life, my in-laws.
Okay.
Do not trust GPS, and they think they're smarter than GPS.
Oh, that'll get
actually, my parents do too.
I'm not like that. I just get in the car and go. That's my thing.
Okay, but your parents and your in-laws, that would qualify as old school. Pete's not old enough to be old school. You should be solidly in the GPS generation.
Well, I use it. Like I said, I use it, but I should use it at appropriate times.
Every morning when you wake up and get in the car, you have to turn it on, right? Maggie, you drive every morning.
I do.
Do you use the GPS every morning?
Every single time. And it actually led me astray the first time. It took me the wrong way and cost me like an extra 15 minutes. And so I still use it, and I just don't follow the directions, but I still use it.
Well, I will say this.
Isn't that funny?
I will say this. I turned on GPS after the fact this morning, and it almost sent me to Jersey.
Well, it's because you messed with it. You gotta have it on from the moment you leave.
Well, GPS, there are shortcomings though, and we all yell at it. In New York City, they're like, get off at this exit. Except that exit takes an hour and 45 minutes to get off because everybody else is trying to get off at that exit. So that's what happens.
Tillery Street.
There are limits. My GPS leads me right into some gigantic tunnel traffic here in the morning. So it doesn't always work.
Okay. I put the GPS, though, over our brains like 99% of the time.
And you can't see what they see.
Yes.
Not even your brain, like they know what's coming. Even that traffic might be better than the alternative.
No. Some GPS does have limits. They don't totally understand the street.
Well, and I think now, too, they also are trying to divert traffic. Like they purposely, if you and I can start from the same spot and get different directions because they are trying to break people up and not have everybody together in the... So, like, there is that.
They're outsmarting themselves.
Yeah, and I hate the idea, too, like, to save me 90 seconds, I'm going to make 19 different turns.
Yeah.
I hate that, too. But when you need to be somewhere and you don't know what's coming in front of you, it's got to be on.
They give you an option. Do you want the less turns now?
Do they really?
Yeah, it's a new thing. It's
they have
great.
a thing now where also it's not just less turns, but I have an electric car, and so it's like save you battery life.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Do you guys
That's
use?
cool.
I never take that option.
No, it's very frustrating. Do you guys use a GPS to walk ever?
Yeah,
all the time.
I do. Yeah.
I always find the GPS can never find where I am, so it's always thinking I'm heading the wrong way on the street. So I end up. That's a little tricky. Does anyone run into trouble with that?
This is what happens when I use GPS to walk. So we get kind of accustomed to a certain lifestyle a little bit in New York, where you walk everywhere and it's meant for walking. I will always find myself in another city, and I'll use the GPS to walk, and I'm like, I'm in Houston. This is just a mile and a half down the road. I'll walk. And then all of a sudden I'm walking on the side of a 6-lane highway.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, I'm going to die.
So I was in South Florida 2 years ago for the NABJ, National Association of Black Journalists. And the hotel where I was staying was not too far from the convention center. It was probably about a 20-minute walk. And every time, everybody's been taking shuttles, but by the second day, I'm like, you know what? Like, all you country folk are taking shuttles. I'm walking. Like, what is this? And, like, how bad could it be? Not only did I underestimate the walk and what it was going to walk me on, like the highway, like these windy roads that don't have a sidewalk, I also underestimated Florida humidity in August.
AJ.
Full suit.
Amateur.
I mean, come on.
And I'm walking on like the side of some side road where there's no sidewalk. I probably crossed alligators that I didn't see because it was at night. I mean, it was a disaster.
Do you realize you underestimate the heat and humidity in August in Florida? You basically just said I underestimate the sun.
Right.
Like, how dare you?
Well, it was nighttime. It wasn't even the sun wasn't even out.
Doesn't matter.
But yeah, it did not matter. Trust me. I learned the hard way. I came back. My girlfriend, she ended up coming down at that point in time, and she was like, you look ridiculous. Like, I looked like Sean Miller on the sidelines coaching Pitt with all the sweat stains and everything. I mean, I looked insane.
Be like, I just jumped in a pool actually on the way here.
That
I'm feeling
suit
refreshed.
had to be just like disinfected and thrown into acid. I couldn't just give it to dry cleaning.
I'd stop telling that story. It doesn't make you look good.
I would not tell the National Association of Black Journalists that you underestimated the heat in August. Like, I don't know if they'll invite you back.
Now, the first time I ever used any type of GPS, I was going to New Jersey, and I had parkways off. So it kept telling me to get off every exit. So that took me about a little
Wait,
while.
you turn, like, there's a setting where you
Don't
go
take
on
the highway?
This one, it was don't take the highway, and I didn't know it was off.
So that's your fault, not theirs.
Well, I didn't know. It was the first time I was using it.
And that scarred you for life.
They wanted me to get off at every exit.
Wow. Man, we got to get our weight up here as a show. Technology's winning, and we're losing. Bogish is here with headlines.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers won their first 2 games this season. Now they've lost 4 of their last 5 after last night's 24-18 L in Buffalo. But don't worry, Todd Bowles still has his team's back.
My faith in these guys have never wavered. I'll take them anywhere. I'll take them down the alley. I'll fight with them any kind of way. I believe in them wholeheartedly. We believe in ourselves as a team, and we know we'll push forward and get better.
What about their faith in you?
Yeah, I was like, is that the way this is working? Yes, you might have faith in them. Do they? Okay.
They like better plays, as in if you're going to try and lure the other guy offside, the center at least needs to have his hands on the football as if a snap is coming. The Bucs were down 24-10 in the fourth quarter last night. Then took about 3 days to drive for a touchdown, got the ball back, and then Chris Godwin almost caught a Hail Mary with zeros on the clock. So Josh Allen and his Bills getting a much-needed win.
You wish you were 8-0 at this point. You wish you were 7-1. You wish you were 6-2, and that's the reality of it. Is we're 5-3, but we're going to continue to take it one game at a time.
Wow, he can add.
Allen threw for 2 scores, ran for 1, and spent some time in the medical tent getting his right shoulder checked in the second quarter. He did not. miss a play. Brock Purdy returned to Niners practice yesterday. That is step 4 of 5 in the return to play protocols. Purdy could be the first player this season to enter concussion protocols and then be cleared to play all in the same week. Tyreek Hill said yesterday he'll be out there Sunday against the Patriots if they're missing a practice with a hip issue. And little-used Dalvin Cook wants to talk to his agent and Jets GM Joe Douglas about a trade. Cook got just 3 carries in their last game with Breece Hall fully recovered from last season's torn ACL.
But wait a minute. I thought we're all just waiting for Aaron Rodgers to come back. Don't you?
Not Dalvin.
Just stay the course that this could be a playoff team. He already wants out.
Yeah, he knows how medicine works, so he knows Rodgers is not going to play this year, and he's not going to get carries. So where's the door?
Why did we waste all that time this summer on Dalvin Cook? Remember, Dalvin Cook was the missing piece in all these places?
It reminds me of the Odell Beckham thing from last year, where it was like, oh, where's Odell Beckham going to sign? Nowhere.
Well, at least Beckham was coming off a major injury. He has that excuse. Dalvin Cook, I just feel like it's so crazy. At 27, you were washed as a running back. That's so mean to say, but it seems like that's.
Watching him run the football and then Breece Hall coming in is like watching a Lamborghini and then having a Honda Civic come on the field. That's what it looks like.
Breece Hall has GPS. Dalvin and Pete don't.
Dalvin's running right in the line.
Well, just to clarify, he has GPS. He doesn't use it.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, Pete.
Because he knows better.
Thank you.
So here's the Sixers' last 36 hours or so. Team security might have kept James Harden off the team flight. The NBA is determining if Harden's absence from Milwaukee last night violates the new player participation policy, and you lost your debut to the Bucks, 118-117. Damian Lillard scored 39 in his debut, including the put-away 3 with just over a minute left.
I came in knowing what was expected of me, when these type of situations came, and I've been in enough of those situations where I know it's probably not going to always be me making a shot or taking a shot, but they're encouraging me to be the person to take control and make decisions and decide what's going to happen in those moments, and that's what I'm here to do.
LeBron led a 17-point fourth quarter turnaround for the Lakers. A 12-point hole became a 195 win over the Suns, avoiding an 0-2 start. Phoenix didn't have Bradley Beal or Devin Booker, so Kevin Durant scored 39, passing Hakeem for 12th all-time along the way. We still don't know if they'll actually punish Michigan and Jim Harbaugh quickly, but the NCAA is apparently acting like it will. Investigators said to be in Ann Arbor now investigating the alleged illegal scouting and sign stealing. That is quicker than they would usually act. And
Ann Arbor's not that big. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's an idyllic place to go to college, or to live. But you could probably pick out maybe who these investigators are. At whatever hotel they're staying at, I have a feeling they might get the cold shoulder when they go to get the waffle machine at the hot breakfast.
My hope is that they have those
jackets?
Yeah, that say DEA or whatever, that they're say NCAA.
Bust in the door.
Right. They're just, they're with their
Step
fake
away from the
warrants.
computer.
No. They're like narcs. They're walking around campus. Excuse me, have you seen anybody videotaping a coach with a cell phone? I'm just curious. I've been reading about this story.
Hello, fellow student.
Yeah. What is that, Steve Buscemi? It's a narc meme that's out there.
They're wearing Michigan hat they just bought at the bookstore.
Yeah. I hope they go undercover. That'd be sick.
Oh, Ohio State sucks. We should steal their signs, right, guys? Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they're in the hotel room, putting on a fake mustache and a beard.
Yeah.
Pretending to be a frat guy or something.
I know you guys are worried about them. The San Jose Sharks did not get their first win of the hockey season last night in Tampa Bay.
Stamkos holds. Stamkos, right point Sergachev, whiffs on a shot, but it comes to Kucherov, right circle, left circle, Stamkos. Score! Stamkos! Good.
Dave Mishkin.
It's 5 o'clock in the morning at some places right now.
Dave Mishkin yelling, Phil Esposito going good on Lightning Radio. The Sharks taking a 6-0 beating. They're now winless in 7 games this season, 13 games going back to last year. And now back to you guys.
Man, that could have just saved somebody's life, to be honest. If you were feeling sleepy going home from the night shift or something, that hockey call may have just woken you up and saved your life.
Center pass. Oh!
That's a huge game, too. Big win.
Big win for the Lightning.
Yeah. I mean, taking those pesky Sharks down.
You can't let them get their first win against you.
The chat very, very into the idea of Pete using an atlas instead of the GPS.
Too big. Too big. Come on.
It said like Indiana Jones. Like we got to get Pete's car, like how they would map Indiana Jones's plane, like with the dashes that go across the atlas.
My map quest doesn't work right now, so
A flashlight and a compass. That's how I get to Manhattan.
A ruler, everything. Gotta always be prepared. Always be prepared.
Pete is orienteering his way to the office every day.
Let me see my sundial. What time is it? Am I late yet?
Oh, hey.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Coming up, we've got picks to make. Also, we will have our celebrity guest picker coming up in the final hour of the show.
Ooh, exciting.
I know.
Hopefully I won't give it away this week.
Yeah, thank you. Perloff, put the duct tape over your mouth. We'll give you a couple hints. She's one badass chick.
So it is Reese Witherspoon to balance out Ryan Phillippe. That's good journalism.
She wants to counteract some of the things he said.
And Maggie just gave part of it away. It's a female.
It is. She's badass. She's cool. It's not Reese Witherspoon.
Fine.
I don't know how cool Reese Witherspoon is.
Yeah, I would say Reese Witherspoon.
Maybe. I have no idea. 855-212-4CBS, but probably not. 855-212-4227. We got picks for you next. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie and Perloff. Connor Bedard had no idea who Pearl Jam was. Do you think he knows who Snoop Dogg is? I think that's got to be a yes.
Snoop Dogg's on 2 out of every 3 commercials right now feature Snoop Dogg. He definitely knows who Snoop Dogg is.
And he was in Old School, which I'm assuming Connor Bedard saw that movie.
No. Connor Bedard was 2 when Old School came out.
Oh, gosh.
Connor Bedard probably saw the Super Bowl. Where
Yeah, Super Bowl last year.
No, honestly, I noticed last night Snoop Dogg was on 6 different channels at once.
He is. All right, so he probably knows Snoop Dogg.
He's arguably the most famous rapper.
I think he is.
Well, my daughter is 13. She loves Eminem, who has a certain thing, too. Isn't he the best-selling? Who's the best-selling rapper?
Eminem might be the best-selling rapper.
Yeah.
I think Snoop Dogg's definitely the most famous rapper.
Recognizable. I just feel like
they're both more recognizable than Dr. Dre and
or Ice Cube or something.
Yeah,
definitely. Jay-Z would be in that list.
Jay-Z,
Jay-Z,
Puff Daddy.
I think Jay-Z and Snoop are the most, and Eminem. I say they're probably the most.
Yeah,
Snoop is he transcends a rap.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's part of the NFL basically. I mean, Jay-Z is too.
Literally.
Guys, Blueface would like a word. I'm just kidding.
Don't go. That's a sensitive subject.
I know.
Apparently,
the feud we never saw coming. Matthew Stafford's wife against Blueface, the rapper who had strippers at the Rams game, and they have these luxury suites that are right at field level at the Rams stadium, and so Blueface had a bunch of ladies twerking and throwing money.
I mean, it's Blueface. What would they?
What'd you expect?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not the Pope.
Yeah, that old Blueface.
Always up to
shenanigans.
Something. Actually, know very little about this person.
Yeah. I read at the game he proposed to. Did you say that proposed to his girlfriend as well? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, was she one of the ladies?
I don't know what's going on here.
Not sure.
That relationship is not something we probably should get into on this show. There's a lot going on there.
I was going to say I know not of what I speak.
Sorry, EJ, is Blueface good? Is he fun?
No. In one word, if you ask me, I mean, it's complicated, but in one word, no.
Yeah.
But yes, the shenanigans surrounding Blueface, not surprising at all.
Okay. Probably should have done a quick Google search before we brought him up, which we did not do. Let's get to some picks.
Maggie and Perloff's NFL picks.
It's funny. That's exactly what we sound like when we're making these picks. So I'm in quite a hole here. Really need a big turnaround. 8-13 on the season. Perloff is doing swimmingly. You're 12-9, Perloff.
There you go. Yeah,
I'll have what you're having.
This is like last season. This can turn on a dime. 1 week can be a totally different story.
Well, how about week 8? Let's do that. How we do this on Maggie and Perloff. 1 over-under bet, 1 against the spread, 1 player prop. Would you like to go first?
Okay. I will go first. I think I'm going to make some classic mistakes this week.
Okay.
The one mistake that I'm trying to avoid this season is overrating one Sunday leading into the next Sunday.
It's really hard not to do.
But I saw the New England Patriots have an offense last week against the Buffalo Bills. So they're getting 9.5 at Miami. I'm simply reading the Miami injury report. I know Tyreek Hill is going to play, but it doesn't feel like all these guys can get through a game. It's at home. I think that New England played them tough defensively once. They can do it again. They keep it within 9.5 points. I got the Pats plus 9.5.
All right. For me, I'm going to go to Monday night for mine. Again, you don't want to overrate what happened last week, but I do think the Detroit Lions actually are a good football team, and I do think the Raiders actually are a bad football team. So I don't know if I'm going to overrate it. Spread's big. It was 7.5 last I looked. Now it's up to 8, so we'll lock it in right now at 8. But I think Detroit got very humbled against the Ravens. They need to make a big statement game. Where else? What a better place to do it than in front of your home crowd on Monday Night Football.
Ooh, I like that one. Okay. Over under. Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Commanders, 34-31 the first meeting. The second meeting in divisional games tends to be lower scoring, I've read. And the Eagles, if they can get a lead here, the Eagles have showed that they can stranglehold an opponent. Just do long drives, maybe score a field goal, but that's fine. I think Jalen Hurts plays ball control offense here, keeps it under 43.5. So I think the Eagles are in a pretty safe spot here against Washington. But I think they get the lead and they slow the game down going under 43.5.
Okay, interesting. For my over-under, I'm actually going to go to the Bengals 49ers, and I know that there's a question about who's going to be playing quarterback for the 49ers, but I've been told it doesn't matter. Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold, the same thing. I do not believe that. I actually think Darnold is worse. I don't think it's going to be as seamless as people think with that offense, but I'm going to take the over 43.5. You got the Bengals coming off of a bye. You've got the 49ers, whose defense clearly a little bit banged up, number one, but two, maybe they want to make a statement, Perloff, but they've also shown that they're not totally invincible like we thought they may have been. So I'll give the over 43.5 on Bengals and 49ers.
Yeah, I definitely like that one. Okay. Player prop.
I feel like every time you say that, I lose that bet. So
well, because I bet the Niners over too before.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, that's one I feel like the Niners are more explosive than we're giving them credit for. Okay, player prop. Carolina plays Houston, and I think that Carolina is going to be really invested in making Bryce Young look good. So I think they throw a lot. So I'm not going with Bryce Young, though. Adam Thielen has emerged as the go-to guy in that offense. He's had 200-yard games in a row. I'm going over 65.5 yards. Now, listen, Houston's got a real defense, but if I'm Carolina, everything I'm doing here is to make Bryce Young in the passing game look good. And if they're going to do that, it's got to be through Thielen.
Man, I like that logic a lot. This they have to make Bryce look good. They're winless. CJ Stroud's coming in.
I just feel I've done some receiving yards props this season. There's no worse feeling when you need your guy to catch a ball and either they're running the ball or they don't have the ball. So I worry Houston's defense will be the story here, but Carolina is going to give it everything they have.
Okay, for my player prop, I'm going to Perloff's favorite team, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles. Give me an A.J. Brown over 89.5 receiving yards because I think this game might be tight. I mean, the Commanders always play the Eagles pretty tight. I think you're probably going to have to keep throwing on this team, and A.J. Brown is on a tear right now.
A.J. Brown's made a statement to the NFL. I am the baddest man here. He might not be the best wide receiver, but he is the toughest wide receiver.
I think he's talking himself, or not talking himself, he's playing himself into the conversation of like top 5 receivers, top
Definitely.
3, something like that. And if he keeps putting up these big numbers, I feel like getting him at 89.5 is kind of a steal. I don't know if I should be worried about the Devontae Smith taking some of his carries or some of his receptions, but.
You know, I said I like your first two.
You don't love this one?
I do worry that Washington also knows A.J. Brown is a top 5 receiver. If I'm playing the Eagles, I'm going to make Devontae Smith beat me, not A.J. Brown. But then again, it's Washington. You never know what they're going to do. I do like it, but I think the Commanders, their first thing, take out the best player.
Yeah.
And the best player in this situation is A.J. Brown.
Yeah, I'm hoping that maybe Washington might not be able to do that, even if they want to.
Well, they're showing off Chase Young and Montez Sweat for the trade deadline. That defense is going to come inspired. So I'm worried here because I got over 43, under 43.5. If A.J. Brown goes for over 90 yards, I'm in trouble. So we're kind of going head-to-head here.
There we go. So those are our 3 NFL picks for Week 8. Again, I'm taking the Lions laying the 8 on Monday Night Football against the Raiders. I'm taking over 43.5 with Cincinnati and 49ers, and the A.J. Brown 89.5 receiving yards.
Gosh, that Raiders game. I'm glad you gave me a reason to watch this because the Raiders are playing in some boring games, but that's going to be very interesting. Do you want to go through
your 3 picks? Say it again.
Thielen over 65.5. Eagles under 40. Eagles Commanders under 43.5. Patriots plus 9.5. You're sort of an AFC East whisperer.
Yeah.
What do you see happening down in Miami this weekend?
No freaking clue.
Right? Okay, that's what I thought.
No freaking clue. I have no idea. I don't think Mac Jones is going to have another game like that.
The Patriots offensive line, they got all these guys back. Cole Strange is back, so it might be better than I've been giving them credit for.
I'll tell you what, but when the Patriots, even with Tom Brady, used to always struggle in Miami. But that was generally later in the season when you're not used to the hot weather.
That was the good Patriots team. I think reverse logic, the bad Patriots play better in Miami. There you go.
There you go. All right. Those are our picks. We'll tweet them out at Maggie and Pearl on Twitter. Coming up, one team breathing a sigh of relief, but should they? Get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
She once fell off a ski lift. He was called in for questioning. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
What up? Welcome to the show. Bills get a big win last night. More like an escape, though. They were leading by 2 scores in the fourth quarter, and yet the game did come down to a Hail Mary attempt by the Bucs that fell short, and the Bills, like I said, escape with a win. It was a good Josh Allen game. But overall, Perloff, and as I am a Bills fan, it was a relief to see them win and play better. However, I don't think they got any closer to being a Super Bowl contender. The flaws of this team are the amount of injuries on defense, and I don't even think anything at the trade deadline is going to be enough to make up for that.
Yeah, I don't think we saw anything last night that indicates anything, because I didn't think it was an escape. The Bucs got the ball with 21 seconds left on their own 20-yard line with no timeouts. I mean, their win probability is way less than 1% there. And somehow they had a Hail Mary that came close. So to me, that's not quite an escape, because Hail Marys rarely work. Even that one, I know if Chris Godwin had turned around, he might have caught it. Still a low percentage play. But the thing about it, it's a Thursday night game at home, and all the stats indicate that the home team, if they're favored, should win that game. And the Bucs are kind of harmless.
Yeah, but there's a lot of should be going on with the Bills, and it hasn't come to fruition. You know, like the offense should be more consistent. You know, they should be able to beat teams like the New England Patriots. You know, and that hasn't happened. They've been a maddeningly inconsistent team. And again, while the offense looked better, you got a classic Josh Allen game last night. Him using his legs, but if it's going to be a classic Josh Allen game and he's going to use his legs, then he's also going to spend some time in that blue medical tent, which he did because he has a banged up shoulder. Now, to his credit, did not miss a snap, but still, it's something to monitor now, because he said when he got hit, his first thought was, oh, crap.
Yeah.
So
by the way,
not good.
The defense actually looked dominant, but we don't count that because we just assume that's incompetence on Tampa Bay and Todd Bowles' part.
Well, and I think they were understanding their opponent, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to get off a couple good runs with White, but, you know, as long as you keep Mike Evans in check, and Godwin was banged up, so he wasn't even 100%.
Yeah, Godwin was actually pretty good, but I think they had 300 total yards, and a big chunk of that was at the end of the game. So they really didn't do anything. Their one touchdown early was a short field because of a pick. Yeah, I don't know what this game means.
Josh is always good for one.
Yeah, it's actually, you know what's funny about this Bills team is they're very similar to other Bills teams, except now we don't have the Super Bowl expectation on them. Maybe that's a relief on them. There's less pressure on them because nobody's talking about them as a favorite anymore.
No, once you lose multiple All-Pros and Pro Bowlers on the defense, I think it's going to be really hard to do. And again, like, the offense had been inconsistent, but you got a good offensive game from them last night. I don't think anyone, I'll speak for myself. I'm not saying, oh, wow, they turned a corner here. Like, now they're going to get back on track. Absolutely not. They still have really tough games coming up. Your Eagles, Kansas City, and next week is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, the Bengals have their own obstacle in front of them this week, which is, I think, the game of the weekend. No disrespect to Jags, Steelers, and,
like Lions, Cowboys, Rams.
Cowboys, Rams, which is going to be a good one. But 49ers, Bengals, to me, is so fascinating. Not because of, like, the history or anything like that, even though there is some. Obviously, these two teams met in a Super Bowl, but a long time ago. But I think that you got the Bengals sitting there at 3-3. They're coming off of a bye. Did the defense for the Bengals really get a boost from how they played Seattle before their bye? And now we're seeing that dominant Cincinnati Bengals defense that's making adjustments and suffocating opponents. And then on the flip side, the 49ers dealing with Brock Purdy's concussion. He was at practice yesterday. Does he play? If he doesn't play, can Sam Darnold, the former number 3 overall pick, can he come in and step in and run this offense as well as Purdy in a game where they're trying to stop a 2-game slide?
Now, I'm a big Brock Purdy fan. You know that. I was disappointed to see him practice because as someone who likes to see football experiments, I need to see Sam Darnold start, Maggie. I need to see, can Kyle Shanahan make this quarterback who was so bad with the Jets and the Panthers, can he make him into a Pro Bowler? And I think, maybe not Pro Bowler, I think he can make Sam Darnold look so much better than we've ever seen Sam Darnold.
You know what this is? This is the plot of a movie where the high school comedy where they're like, I can turn any chick into homecoming queen. What movie was like Freddie Prinze Jr.?
Yeah,
She's
that was a great movie.
They took
this NFL She's All That.
It's
That's
NFL
a great
She's All That
analogy.
And they're going to try to make Sam Darnold look like the prom queen. And just like the teen movie, the actress in this movie is generally already extremely good looking. Sam Darnold was a very high draft pick. He was really highly touted. It's not like he's making, Shanahan needs to make a undrafted free agent look like the prom queen.
In this movie, Sam Darnold is the handsome football player foil because he's the tall blonde quarterback. That he's never the good guy in these teen movies. So, but ironically, in this, I guess She's All That. It's interesting too. By the way, we're not on the Cincinnati end. Do not discount this team. Everyone's coming back. T. Higgins is coming back. Orlando Brown's coming back. Joe Burrow's back. They're coming off a bye. So I think this is a funny spread. San Francisco is a 4-point favorite only because it's in San Francisco. Now, how much did it come down? 2 points because Brock Purdy was hurt. And now it's back up to 4. This to me is a pick 'em. I didn't use this for my pick. Do you have any sense of which way this is going?
I took the over. I mean, my sense is that they're still going to be able to score. My big question is, yes, can Kyle Shanahan turn Sam Darnold into the prom queen is number 1. But number 2 is this 49ers defense. I mean, how personally are they taking it that 2 weeks in a row, and especially with that Minnesota game, I mean, the Vikings sliced and diced them.
Oh, they killed him.
Like in prime time. And
superstar Fred Warner looked lost on multiple plays, mid-level coverage, which is unbelievable.
I think they called Nick Bosa's number once. I mean,
Bosa got stuffed. Everything was off for them. Travarius Ward, of course, gave up that touch. Who's a very good cornerback, gave up the touchdown. It was a mess.
I mean, I think it led to definitely some conversations between Kyle Shanahan and defensive coordinator Steve Wilks on why they called an all-out blitz in that game.
Yeah.
In that moment, rather, where the interception came. So, or the cover 0, whatever it was. So it's,
Yeah, there's a lot of questions in San Francisco. 3 weeks ago, which I think I said 17-0 on the show.
Yeah, well, that was never happening.
Hey, come on. You didn't tell me at the time.
Let's hear from Steve Wilks, who is the defensive coordinator, taking responsibility for that bad. It was a blitz call Monday Night Football.
I know there's a lot of questions about the call right before the half, so I definitely want to address that before I move on to Cincinnati. Take full responsibility for that call. I have to do a better job in putting the guys in a better position. We have good players. I know that, and can't really press the issue, And with that, moving forward, it's my responsibility to do that. So, I wish I could take it back, but again, I gotta do better.
Wow, they just lose the Super Bowl? That was somber.
It was really weird. The day before, Kyle Shanahan kind of also threw him under the bus, saying, "Hey, Steve knows that he made a mistake there." But I can't remember the last time a defensive coordinator had to go out there and apologize for a call, especially a call that was in the first half. I know it was a big deal, but it was weird.
Also, it was almost an interception, just like Ward had an interception when they were wrestling for the ball earlier in the game.
Yeah. I was watching the Manning cast when that happened, and even the Eli Manning, who is not one to rip, he's like, that is one of the dumber calls I've seen.
Wow.
That was a fireable offense in a different situation. I couldn't believe it. All you had to do was tackle a guy, and the clock was out. What were they trying to achieve?
I don't know, but as you don't really hear someone talking that somber unless it's like you've lost a championship game. That's what it sounds like.
That play definitely cost them the game. I mean, but
DJ's point, it was in the first half. Like, you did have plenty of time.
But think of the
Brock Purdy threw 2 picks in the fourth quarter.
It was 22-17, and the Vikings, they were moving the ball, but they weren't scoring in the red zone. So I think that was the key play in the game.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. So I think 49ers Bengals really is like, that stands out with no teams on a bye this week. everyone's playing, but that what to me stands out above. Is there another game that I'm sleeping on here?
Well,
Cowboys Rams, perhaps.
Cowboys Rams should be fun. What do you think of the local game here, Jets Giants? Honestly, the only reason I'm interested in this is I don't care about who wins. I want to see the absolute devastation in the fan base that loses. And also, we're coming up on the trade deadline, and we don't know if Aaron Rodgers is ever going to come back. I feel like it's more impactful for the losing team to decide what's the future of my season.
Yeah, because what are they going to do without Dalvin Cook, who's already asking for a trade from the Jets? I couldn't care less about this game. I should probably care a little about the Jets just because they play in the same division as my Buffalo Bills. This is the game that makes me so glad that I don't work out WFAN anymore. I don't have to pretend to care about this game any more than the average person.
Can Barkley be made available if the Giants lose this game? That would be
Barkley,
that'd be interesting to me.
I will tell you, Barkley should have something personal about this game because the last time that the Giants played the Jets, Saquon Barkley had probably the lowest moment of his NFL career that wasn't an injury, which is when Jamal Adams absolutely trucked him, took the ball out of his hands. No, Truck Barkley took the ball out of Daniel Jones's hands and ran it back for a touchdown. Whew.
That must have been a while ago.
It was a while ago. Is Barkley available? Probably. I think he's probably.
Because that's the one guy who could be closest to Christian McCaffrey turning fortunes of a team because Barkley's a danger in the pass game.
You know what? Sorry, I'm going to take it back. He's not available. You want to know why? Because the Giants still think they're a good team. They're delusional in thinking they're a good team and that...
Well, that's what I'm saying. If they lose this game, they go to 2-6, then how delusional can you be?
I think they will continue to be delusional and think that they can go on a run or something. They don't want to admit that they're not as good as they think they are.
Okay, one other game is Jags-Steelers.
I like that one.
I guarantee that's going to be a defensive battle because the Jags have quietly transformed into a really good defense, and the Steelers' offense is still terrible.
Well, they're terrible.
Poorly called from start to finish.
Okay, they are.
Except the fourth quarter.
They're not good until Kenny Pickett needs to go on a game-winning drive, and then he seems to be able to put it together.
But they wouldn't need to do that if they actually would run a normal 2023 offense the rest of the game.
Mike Tomlin as a home dog.
Yeah,
which
what do you
they're
got?
a 2.5-point underdog.
Yeah,
he's incredible. Like this should be one of our commandments. Like thou shalt not bet against Joe Burrow, and thou shalt not bet on the Falcons.
Yeah, listen. Steelers are my Super Bowl pick, and they're winning games. It's all because of T.J. Watt. They're a one-man show. Myles Garrett winning games for the Browns. T.J. Watt winning games for the Steelers. This can't last, Maggie. Then again, the Jags. What happened to the Jags? All of a sudden, the Jags are the 85 Bears and can't really do things consistently on offense. Travis Etienne, that's a good game. So I think Vikings-Packers, that's another one. I mean, that is hugely impactful as well because the all of a sudden we're all this talk about the Vikings being on a playoff run, but they sometimes struggle at Lambeau. This could be a wild one. If Jordan Love loses this, then we're talking, uh-oh.
Yeah, what are the Packers going to do?
Are they tanking for a draft pick then?
Jake Summers is in the chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio or twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio. Maggie and Perloff, what are your weekend plans besides football?
Okay.
I'll tell you mine are.
Go ahead. You go first.
Okay.
I got to remember.
I made a vow to myself at the start of the year that I was not going to eat candy anymore. It was getting a little out of control. I was averaging like a box of Sour Patch Kids a show.
I remember.
Yeah. You witnessed it.
Yeah, it was like an addict.
It was.
You were jonesing
I
come
know.
an hour into the show.
And it was weird because you were giving me the boxes. It's
Yeah.
like, wow, you're really enabling me. Anyway, I was eating a box of Sour Patch Kids a show, and we were on in the afternoon. So I vowed no more candy. So I haven't eaten candy in a year, almost a year. I'm going to go bananas this week. I can just feel it.
But then you're going to want it on Monday afternoon.
No,
or
I
Monday
think
morning.
I'm past it. Like, I think I can.
Yeah, okay.
No, I think I can
That's what every addict says.
responsibly have candy, and I think I'm going to be okay. Then I'll just go back to not eating the candy.
What could one drink hurt, right?
Guys, I got this.
Sitting alone in the jail.
My name is Maggie Gray.
I'm going to be like running guns to Cuba by Monday.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
a couple of Kit Kat bars.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not going to get it. You have no idea how addiction works. And if you think sugar is not addictive, then
Oh,
you're
I
crazy.
know it is.
I tell you, if you think you can dip your beak in the old sugar, the old
Wait a minute, what are
Halloween
we
bag.
talking about?
Yeah. Well, it's better than my argument that Reese's Pieces are really protein bars
Yeah.
and you can eat as many as you want of those. That hurts me.
I think I've got this, guys. I'm excited to eat my kids' Halloween candy. I feel like that's a rite of passage as a parent. I've got a 4-year-old. He can trick or treat now. We're going to a Halloween party today is the first one. And I think I can eat some of his candy and I'm still going to be all right.
This is going to be one of the craziest weekends. We have Halloween parties Saturday and Sunday night.
Are you dressing up?
No, because these are kids' parties. So I feel I don't have to dress up. And if you don't have to dress up, you don't dress up. College football, NFL, playing basketball both today in the afternoon and Saturday in the afternoon. And my in-laws are in town, so we have to go to a fancy dinner.
Oh, my gosh. That sounds like a lot.
Once a year, we go to a fancy dinner with my in-laws to sort of, I don't know. So, and I'm not good at that, really. I get really stressed out in the restaurant now.
Perloff with the jacket that has the patches on the elbows.
Yeah, I have to wear a jacket. You've probably been to this place. It's called Jean Georges. I have to wear a jacket and a tie. This is terrible. And it's Saturday, so I'm going to be watching stupid Florida, Georgia.
On your phone?
And I'd be so grumpy at 5 o'clock. EJ, you don't have in-laws yet. There's a lot of things you have to do here.
Yeah, get ready. Bilotti, you.
Oh, yeah. I like my in-laws.
I love my in-laws. They're fantastic, but I don't want to go to dinner on Saturday night.
By the
Nobody
way,
does.
That's what everyone says when they're talking into a microphone. No, I love my in-laws.
You rather...
I love mine, too.
Go to the bar or have a drink or have a glass of wine or whatever. But yeah. I mean, look, savor it. Savor the moment. Get the best meal you can and have a good time.
Order the most expensive thing on the menu. I dare you.
Is it weird that I don't like fancy restaurants anymore? It's ever since I had kids, I stopped going out to restaurants at all. I'd much rather
kind of pretentious,
simple, fast. I'm fine with Chipotle. I do not need Jean Georges.
Well, and also the old, you realize that just good food doesn't mean it has to be fancy food. You can get great food anywhere, and sometimes the better food is the places that are more understated.
Get Chipotle and bring it to the restaurant.
I'm sure they'd love that.
Yeah. Also, my father-in-law, diehard Patriots fan. That's going to be ugly.
Well, you lost me.
So it's going to be the beginning of the meal. He's going to say, all right, Andrew, tell me they're going to turn it around this season. Must-lie situation.
Yeah, if he's picking up the check, you got to lie.
Mac Jones looking great out there.
Mac Jones.
He's really spinning it.
Here comes the Super Bowl.
Oh, boy. It's Kendrick Bourne looking good.
Yeah, well, Belichick still got it. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Jacob now telling me, fight the urge against the candy.
You have no chance. If you eat candy this weekend or Tuesday on Halloween, you're going to want it the next day badly, and I don't think you're strong enough.
See, I kicked the habit once. I'll kick it again.
Would you be enablers if we didn't warn you not to jump into that Halloween bag? It's going to be sitting there. What's your go-to?
I mean, everything under the sun. Yeah, probably a Butterfinger because I would never buy that for myself. And I only have ever eaten them on Halloween. I've never had one outside of Halloween.
Now I want a Butterfinger. Thanks.
Sorry.
That's like Kit Kats. I never eat Kit Kats, but they're all over the. I go Reese's number 1, Kit Kat number 2. I don't even need anything else, and that's enough.
I love an Almond Joy too.
Oh, a lot of people don't like coconut. The kids there take the Almond Joy.
I love it.
I don't think people put Almond Joys in the candy as much anymore.
I like coconut. I like black licorice. I take everyone's leftovers.
My girlfriend and I had a very serious argument because I said that Snickers washes Kit Kat, and she thought I was nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently she was right because I put it on a poll on Instagram, and Kit Kat won 70-30.
If you want it, I'd like to see a poll. Do you like black licorice? Because I think it's the grossest
Who
candy.
likes black licorice?
I do. I love
What?
it. It's like eating a tire.
Isn't that supposed to be great?
Yeah.
Fun?
There's something about black licorice, salty. I like order the stuff from Australia when I used to eat candy.
My God.
Black licorice is the worst.
Oh, it's so good. Not the good in plenties. That stuff is kind of like cheap. You got to get the good black licorice. Like they scrape it out from inside a tree or something.
Give me a Twizzler any day of the week. I'm not eating black licorice.
Give me a Rolo every day.
Well,
Rolos.
Different food group.
Do they still make Rolos?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they will continue to make those to the end of time, and they will continue to melt in whatever backpack you
that is true.
have to the end of time. 855-212-4CBS. Okay, what did we get done there? Who knows?
I have no idea. We mentioned about 7 different NFL games and 6 different candies.
There you go. Coming up, the most shocking moment we heard from Nick Saban. We'll get to that in a minute. Don't move. You are listening to Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Stream the NFL on Westwood One for free, sponsored by AutoZone. All season long, you can listen to every Westwood One broadcast of the NFL live on the NFL app by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports, or on the Odyssey app. Get in the zone. AutoZone. AutoZone's free battery testing and charging is available for free at your local AutoZone. Get in the zone. AutoZone. Restrictions apply. Uh-oh, I heard a little panic there in the break, Maggie. What's the latest quarterback news?
It looks like Jimmy Garoppolo is on track to start that Monday night game against the Lions. Now, I just took the Lions and laid 8 points on Monday Night Football as one of my picks.
You can't change
Tweet's
it.
out, so no changes now.
Is he out? I saw he's back.
No, I said the tweet's out.
Oh, the tweet's out.
Well,
yeah. I was
okay.
like, wait a minute, what?
Because a couple weeks ago, a line moved on me, and I actually won the bet, but lost in our bet because it was the San Francisco-Cleveland total.
You
went
lock
from
it in.
36.5. All right.
Once it comes out of your lips, it's locked in. There's no changing, no adjustments.
That's how the universe works when it comes to NFL picks.
I actually got a
Jimmy
little.
Garoppolo.
I didn't tell you guys. I got a little help on the Josh Downs receiving total the same exact way. The line moved on that and helped me out.
Oh, there you go.
It all works out. But Jimmy G, that can't scare you that much.
Well, I mean, listen, the offense will look more competent with him. Now, he's coming off of a back injury, so that's not exactly an easy thing to come back from. I'm just going to have to rely on the fact that Josh McDaniels is a terrible coach, and I think the vibes on this team probably have to be the worst. Now, you're seeing guys coming out and asking for trades or insinuating that they want to get traded from their teams. Davante Adams has not done that exactly, and I'm surprised because if I were him, I'd probably want to get up on out of there and get myself to a contender because the Raiders are very far away from that.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what Davante Adams likes so much about the Raiders. I think being in Vegas is important. Trying to be a good guy, it might be important. There is such a thing as loyalty. It's not the NBA. I think in NBA, the second you don't like one thing, you ask for out. Sorry.
I just had to say something real quick, and I don't like to usually do this, but we do have some breaking news.
Oh,
what?
Amazing.
And it is NFL related, and it explains a lot, I think.
Okay.
Taylor Swift, new album, out now. Surprise. 1989, Taylor's version, has been dropped today.
Wait, wasn't the rumor she was going to drop it with a different album? Like 2 albums were going to drop on the same day? The
That
new music
may have
and the
been a
old
rumor,
music?
but it is coming.
So you think now she can break up with Kelsey?
Well, they're both born in 1989.
Cool. Wait. But wait a minute. Do you think this was the publicity stunt to get, as much promotion for the album as possible, and now the relationship can fade away?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is where we're at now.
Yeah, I think that's where we're at.
This is
So
a
we are
big
talking about the movie, but now that the album is
You guys are the
out.
worst.
No, this is it. It's over now. Now it's like she's gotten everything she needs to, and she did that ridiculous dance with Brittany Mahomes. Like it's time to just abort mission.
But this week will be a good week.
We can't be seen with Jackson Mahomes anymore. Like that's got to end.
Yeah, and the PR probably got a hold of her and was like, "You can't be high-fiving with this dude." He's like,
Yeah, get this album out and get this thing over with.
we gotta move it on to the South American leg of the tour.
But Travis Kelce's at 6.5 catches this weekend. If the album just dropped, I say that Kelce still gets the
You
targets.
still get the bump.
Yeah, I mean, he's done well against Denver. It's on the road. I think this is one more Travis Kelce week because he's on fire with Taylor Swift as his girlfriend.
No way she's going to Denver.
Why not?
This-
People buy albums, go to movies in Denver. What's she care?
No,
It's a
I'm just
great
saying.
town.
Like, I don't think that I think this is it. I think this is she's
no,
got
no.
what
See,
she
I
needs.
think one more weekend. I mean, the movie's still raking in money.
Yeah, but the opening weekend's the only thing that really counts, right?
Is that right?
I think so.
Yeah, this is it. This is what we've been waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
We kept saying when was this going to end? I know a lot of America have been tired of Taylor Swift. I'm here to give you maybe some good news. I know you're saying, why are we talking about Taylor Swift again? Well, 1989 coming out, considering the relationship between Travis and Taylor being both 1989 babies, I think that this is where this ends.
Where do you guys
they just love each other?
What do you think the balance of the relationship is? So it seems like Travis has puppy dog eyes towards Taylor, so she'll be the one to dump, right?
I think this is pretty sweet for him. Like, I don't know why he would want to break up with her. I think he only gets more famous off of this into a totally different subset of people who are non-NFL people now, who didn't know him and now do. And he gets to date Taylor Swift. And for her, maybe she liked this sort of football dude fantasy, and she gets to expose her album to people who might not have.
And you think there are dudes buying 1989 right now?
Probably not.
Okay.
I don't know.
Or going to see the movie?
Yeah, I mean, maybe they'll go with a girlfriend.
But they were going to go with the girlfriend to begin with.
And it's not like Travis Kelce, if he gets something, he can
No, he'll
date
move
anybody
on.
he can date any supermodel he wants.
They're both going to move on. I just think that she got a lot of free publicity out of this. I mean, we got the article in the New York Post said that the NFL was bending over backwards to run ads for her. She wasn't even paying for that stuff.
I have this weird feeling. I'm with Bogus. I think there might be real feelings developing.
Mm-hmm.
It started out as an accident, but then they found love. I honestly feel, I watched them together a little bit. I think there's some real, I think they get married.
I think that Travis knows that he's on borrowed time, which is why he's not. Do you ever hear him on the podcast that he does with Jason? He's not like, oh, she's amazing. They say she's cool and they like her, but he's never like.
Because he's a gentleman, Maggie.
And by the way, I think you underestimate Taylor Swift's feelings for Travis Kelce. Because I think you're not into Travis Kelce. I think there are other women
I
who'd
love
be
Travis Kelce.
But you're not in love with him like Taylor Swift is.
Well, no, I'm not. No, you're right. You got me there.
I think they get married, and I think Jim Harbaugh stays in Michigan. Those are my two super against the grain takes.
There's no way she befriends Brittany Mahomes like that for a gimmick.
That might have gotten me there.
She's all
good logic, Bogus.
Oh man,
and that's not
airtight.
That's not a knock on Brittany Mahomes. Is she's not going to do a dance with the other guy's wife in the luxury suite if she's looking for clicks.
Maybe she's dorky.
But
Definitely.
still doesn't lead to that.
But her gimmick is kind of being corny. That is like part of her thing.
She doesn't need Brittany Mahomes as a friend to sell albums.
Look, if you're looking for corny, I think Brittany Mahomes would be one of the places I'd look.
Here's the thing, though. Brittany's sitting front row in that luxury suite. That's her. She is definitely there. So if Taylor wants to be there, she's got to stand next to Brittany.
But the first time I thought she was in a different suite. I thought they were in separate suites the first time Taylor went there.
Oh, maybe.
Kansas City for the Chicago game, probably.
My favorite part was when Travis and Jason Kelce were panicking about their dad talking to Taylor Swift.
That was very relatable.
Yeah, because their dad's a character. Oh, man, I wish we could have heard that. Is there a documentary coming out on all this where we get to see all these conversations?
Yeah, where are the Hard Knocks cameras when you really need them? Wow, okay. Well, it was fun while it lasted, guys. I say you want to do show bet. I think that this thing is fizzled by, let me just check out the Chiefs schedule. Bogus, you want to go to some headlines and I'll circle the date of when this thing's going to end.
I kind of think the end of the year is an easy marker here. It's the end of October, so it's basically 2 months and a week left in the year. I think they're going to still be together when we get to 2024.
Like Super Bowl time?
Yeah,
No, January 1st, 2024, they will still be a thing.
I think,
Can we backdate it if they say that, if the report comes out late, but they actually had been on the rocks for a while? It was like backdating an IR stint for a pitcher.
Listen, Taylor,
retroactive to last
Taylor's
Thursday.
not going to leave a loser, and the way the Chiefs defense is playing, Nick Bolton's coming back in 2 months. He's looking at the injury report. If they're headed towards a Super Bowl, there is no way Taylor Swift is going to leave that.
She's like a guy, Connor Stallion. She's probably getting the film and the signals ready for the Chiefs every week.
She has a Chiefs manifesto. Honestly, if they're 13-1, do you think she's going to leave that? She wants to be attached to a winner.
You think she signed off on McCole Hardman coming back?
She was at the Jets game. She clearly was doing some scouting.
Her people sent an email off today saying you might want to get DeAndre Hopkins if you want Taylor to stick around.
I love how Andy Reid better look over his shoulder because Taylor's got a manifesto about she's going to take over the team.
Let's talk about Rashee Rice's targets here. There's like a conference room.
I'm going to need a little more Pacheco and a little less Kadarius Toney.
Yeah.
I'm thinking what would be fun. I know we got a lot of wrestling fans here on the show with Pete and with EJ. If Monday, November 20th, oh, wait, this game's in Germany, isn't it? Is it Chiefs-Eagles in Germany?
No, Chiefs-Dolphins is
Oh,
in
yeah,
Germany.
you're right. Okay, so Chiefs-Eagles, Monday Night Football, if she comes out, rips off the Kansas City jersey, and it's got, like, the Jalen Hurts underneath, like, she's been the Eagles fan all the time because she's from Pennsylvania.
Or to make it more complicated, what if it's a Jason Kelce jersey?
That's what I was thinking.
Whoa.
Yeah, you want to talk about a wrestling storyline?
And the whole crowd would be like, huh?
Now we're getting like a Shakespearean tragedy going on here.
Yeah, Vince McMahon would be so jazzed for this kind of story.
She would turn face in Philadelphia, but a heel in Kansas City.
There you go.
Sure.
There's a lot of different ways this could go.
Did this segment just sell an extra 15 Taylor Swift albums? We're buying into the hype. We're buying into their whole corporate plan.
I think it's all crap. She's gonna be on her way now, and she's got the South American leg of the tour. Then the Asian leg of the tour is a convenient way. Like, hey, Like
it's not you, it's me.
Yeah, what's the line?
It's not you, it's me.
I gotta focus on work.
No,
I gotta focus on my career.
I'm telling you right now, she's smitten with Travis Kelce. She is smitten.
Yeah.
The guy's
This is
good
classic.
looking.
Guys think that women all love them.
Well, I mean, yes, they love pro athletes. They don't love guys like me, but they love. I mean, listen, I've seen enough movies. There is no woman on earth who picks the nerd over the quarterback. And that's just something that happens in rom-coms. In reality, the pretty women always go for the quarterback or the football star. It always happens. It's just a fiction done by screenwriters that a football player always gets a girl.
You're right.
Maggie.
It's like it's like biological or something.
Yeah, I get it.
And I'll buy the idea that like she's in some weird like athlete phase.
Yeah.
But she's not. This is not about her selling records and movies. This is not some weird, completely emotionless ploy. She might realize that she doesn't actually want to be with him forever, but they're like, this is a legitimate relationship right now.
Man, Bogus, you are talking so confidently about most relationships like this are 100% fake. Wait, real headlines, though. Let's get to those.
Sure. Even Josh Allen has criticized Josh Allen's low-energy approach. It was nowhere to be seen on Thursday Night Football.
Here's the snap. Back to pass, and he's going to tuck it and run right up the gut. Down to the 5, looking for the end zone. Touchdown, Buffalo! Release the beast! Josh Allen with a 13-yard touchdown run.
Chris Brown on Bills Radio. Allen enjoyed improvising.
It was a pass play, but again, it just kind of opened up and I trusted my feet and my legs and made a play.
He also admitted that he might have been protecting his right shoulder, which he had just landed on. Allen then spent some time in the medical tent, but was back for their next series. Then added 2 touchdown throws for a 24-18 decision over the Bucs, who did make this a one-score game in the fourth, then almost connected on a Hail Mary as time expired, extending their skid to 3 games. Kyler Murray no longer appears on the Cardinals injury report. He was a full participant at practice yesterday, but none of this means he and his knee will be activated from IR this weekend. On opening night, LeBron played just 29 minutes in Denver, apparently as a way to preserve him over 82 games. That plan gone for the Lakers home opener.
LeBron driving down the middle to the rim and in! LeBron's taken over the game! 95-91 Lakers. 41 seconds remaining. And what a fourth quarter for LA.
John Ireland on Lakers Radio. LA was down 12 through 3, beat the Suns 195. LeBron played the entire fourth quarter, scoring 10 of his 21 in the frame. Kevin Durant scored 39 for the Suns, passing Hakeem Olajuwon for 12th on the all-time list, and it means a lot to KD.
My mom had a crush on Olajuwon when I was a kid. So that's all I used to hear in the house. It wasn't Jordan, it was Olajuwon in the house, you know. And somebody, she told me to study since a kid.
That's funny. I don't think of Hakeem Olajuwon as like, sex symbol.
Yeah, nobody has a crush on the 7-footer.
I was just going to say, just because he's so tall.
Maybe KD's mom is really tall because generally, the tall guys don't get the girl.
So nerds, tall guys out.
No, tall guys can get the girl. It's just when you're 7 feet, it's just like, that's extremely tall.
Right. No, I meant like super tall guys. Everyone's like, God, Yao Ming, what a heartthrob.
It's a little like, man, Tom Gugliotta. Like, wow.
I don't think Chet Holmgren's walking the catwalk anytime soon.
Although Wemby did look very cool walking into the game.
Now he's French. He could. That's ironic.
That's different.
Right?
Yeah, it's different. He's got a little, je ne sais quoi. Had the LeBron in a minutes restriction. That was a cute idea.
Right.
That was adorable. One game.
Damian Lillard had 39 in his Bucks debut, a 118-117 win over the Sixers, who are being investigated by the NBA for possibly violating the new player participation rules by keeping James Harden home. Team security reportedly kept Harden from boarding the flight to Milwaukee 2 days ago. And hockey last night, the Oilers dropping to 1-5-1 with a 3-0 home loss to the Rangers. The Bruins took their first loss 4-3 in OT to the Ducks. And since the Phillies lost its hockey season in Philly, the Flyers handled the Wild 6-2. Bobby Brink, get that jersey, scoring the first 2 goals of his career. Guys, back to you.
Bogish, thank you so much, you romantic, you hopeless romantic.
They're in love, guys.
Andrew Bogish. Taylor Swift's album drops, which means Kelsey and Taylor Swift probably going to meet its end pretty soon. This relationship has gone as far as it can go. Okay, coming up next, on Fridays, we ask celebrities to pick NFL games for us. Last week was actor Ryan Phillippe. Who is it going to be this week? You're going to find out after the break. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
And our shot of the day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos Tequila is brought to you by those who drink it. Today's shot of the day, a little snapshot of the show, came from earlier when we all found out that Pete Bellotti does not use GPS. You don't use GPS?
I use GPS.
I was told you do not use GPS.
I use it at the wrong time, so.
Wait, what?
So GPS, Bellotti apparently not a big fan. You just, what do you have, like a map? Or like
I don't use a map. I just, I don't use GPS at the right times. Like this morning when I got stuck in an hour traffic delay.
Okay. The right time for GPS is every time you get in your car.
Yeah, I'm used to just turn on the radio and going.
I'm not going to say, people in my life, my in-laws, do not trust GPS, and they think they're smarter than GPS.
Oh, that'll get
and
you.
actually, my parents do too.
I'm not like that. I just get in the car and go. That's my thing.
There you go. Well, I wish we could say we planned this. Let's pretend that we planned this. We are having a shot of the day about GPS just as we're about to welcome in our celebrity NFL game picker for the week. And she just happens to be a champion race car driver. Julia Landauer is joining us as our celebrity NFL game picker, the first woman to win a NASCAR track championship, and has most recently been racing in the Xfinity series, the NASCAR Xfinity series. Julia is a motivational speaker. She has an incredible podcast. We're going to get to all of that. Julia, thank you for joining the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be considered a celebrity. And just for the GPS bit, when I was on my parents' plan and it was expensive to use GPS back in the day, they had me write out my directions and just follow them and look for the signs. So we've all been there.
Yeah, Julia, my dad wants to sit me down with a map driving from Philadelphia to New York. He still wants to do that. It's a dad thing. I get it. I'm a dad.
Well, here's the thing, right? I feel like as a race car driver, and you are a champion race car driver, there's a couple things. Like, you have to just be the most competent driver on the road at all times when you're in your own car, right?
I do think I'm better than majority of the people on the road, but if it makes you feel better, I really don't like driving on the road, largely because like on the racetrack, you get to be offensive, and then on the road, you have to be extremely defensive. And it's very frustrating. PSA, stay out of the left lane if you are not passing.
Especially if you see Julia Landauer on your tail. She's better than you at driving. She is a champion race car driver, so get out of her way. You have your new podcast, If I'm Honest, with Julia Landauer. We should mention a little bit more about you. You were on a reality TV show. You were on Survivor when you were a college student at Stanford. I also think you may have overlapped a year with Andrew Luck. Did you know any of the athletes like Zach and Julie Ertz or any of these other athletes who were at Stanford when you were?
Yeah, so I think Andrew Luck and I overlapped for at least a year, if not two. But in my freshman dorm, which I was in a mixed class dorm, which I love. People thought it was a reject dorm, but I thought it was great. And Zach Ertz was actually in that dorm with me. We did not see him very much, but he was there. Saw him occasionally. And it was cool.
Okay, get us up to speed with what's going on with you racing-wise. We'll get to the podcast and all of your motivational speakers. Like, you've given one of the great TED Talks that I've ever heard. I mean, you're awesome. Where are we right now with you and racing?
Yeah, so last year I was able to secure the sponsorship to go racing in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, which was really cool. It was exceptionally difficult. Racing has slowed down a little bit over the last few years just because it is so expensive and hard to secure that sponsorship. But in 2020, I raced in the European NASCAR Series and actually became the highest finishing American there with 5th in the championship, which was super cool. And then, Right now, we're probably slowing down a little bit, getting older, a little past my prime, but I hope to continue racing for fun for a long time.
Can we get like a USA chant going?
Yeah.
I mean, this is like what Julia's one of our great exports now.
What do you mean getting older? You're in your early 30s. Did the reflexes slow that much?
No, but there are like these 16 and 17-year-old kids that are just like, young and dumb with no fear and, I don't know. The bigger thing is that it's expensive. So, gonna do what we can, but I think overall the professional aspirations are slowing a little bit.
Julia, tell us before we get to the celebrity picks, and we sent you some NFL games that you're going to pick for us. Like, what's the big topic around the track these days? Like when you get a quiet moment or you run into drivers, like what's the big topic right now in racing?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I think it really depends. I think, the ability to race full time is really challenging. And racing is an interesting sport because you can do part-time racing, you can do, full seasons, and just with resources, with teams, with availability, you see a lot of driver shuffling. I think in NASCAR specifically, they've made some really cool schedule adjustments. Like they raced on the streets of Chicago in July, and I think it turned out really well despite the monsoon that happened the night before. Yeah, I don't know. It kind of depends on the day and the weekend. And, if anyone got disqualified, someone got, undisqualified at one point. So there's just depends.
What about the rise of F1, especially among young people? Is that a surprise to you, Julia?
Not really. So I got my start in Formula cars. And when I was 14, I won an open wheel championship. And so I grew up watching Formula One. And, originally we were kind of pursuing that path and then kind of pivoted a little bit to focus more on American NASCAR racing. I've always loved Formula One. I love to see different teams get competitive. I think it's so intense. And obviously, I think the international element is quite cool. So my husband and I religiously watch Formula One, like all the qualifyings, all the sprints, all the races.
Julia, tell us about If I'm Honest with Julia Landauer, a new podcast that you have. And you tackle every topic under the sun. This is pretty cool.
Yeah. So I do a lot of motivational keynote speaking. And so the podcast was really meant to be complementary material to that. So we're starting to wind down season 1, talking about big thematic life things like how to do hard things. I bring on guests. It's really cool. And then next season, I think I'm going to try to make it a little more casual and conversational, tackling things we go through on a day-to-day basis. And it's been a lot of fun and it's a lot of hard work. I have new appreciation for everyone who has a radio show or a podcast because I do all the editing myself and work with my producers for getting it out there. But it's a lot of fun. I try to keep it really honest and authentic and so far it's been really cool.
Well, you are an inspiration to so many people out there for what you've done in your racing career, your motivational speaking. Let's get to some NFL picks.
Maggie! Hey, Perloff, over here!
Time for celebrity picks.
Okay, so we got to go through these really fast because we have 2 minutes left in our show. So we gave you the LA Rams at the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys 6.5 point favorite. Who do you have?
I'm going to go with the LA Rams.
LA Rams, we love that. Okay, Minnesota Vikings at Green Bay Packers. That's a pick 'em. Who do you have for this game?
I'm going to have Minnesota Vikings just because I know 2 people who used to be on the team.
Oh, nice.
That's a great
Who
reason.
are they?
Anthony Harris and Stephen Weatherly. We all worked with the One Love Foundation, and so we got to kind of hold the gala together.
Love it. New England Patriots at Miami Dolphins. Dolphins 9-point favorite.
I'm going to go with the Dolphins on this one.
You're a New Yorker. I don't think you could ever pick a Boston team, I don't think. How about New York Jets at the Giants? Giants are a 3-point underdog.
Giants.
Okay.
We love an underdog.
There you go. And then Kansas City Chiefs at the Denver Broncos. Chiefs are a 7-point favorite. I know you've been watching this Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift relationship.
I am a big Swiftie, so I'm going with Kansas City Chiefs. And that's that.
Julia, you're the best for doing this. Thank you so much. As I said, you are such an inspiration. I mean, you're a badass race car driver. You're a champion, motivational speaker, new podcast, If I'm Honest, with Julia Landauer. Check it out. You can find all of her information online, and it's worth it. You got young girls in your life who want a little motivation. Julia is the woman to give it to them. Thank you, Julia.
You're the best. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
That's cool.
Your daughters could be race car drivers. Julia grew up in New York City.
It seems a little dangerous to me, but yeah, sure. I mean, she's one of those people at this age in her life, it just makes you feel bad about how little you've done. Not you particularly, but me.
No, me. Yeah, no, I.
Yeah, writing down her resume, it's like, oh man, what am I doing with my one life on this planet?
She's out there becoming the, first American to finish in 5th place in the NASCAR Hero Cup.
Doing
What are
TED
you doing?
Talks? Yeah, going to Stanford with Zach Ertz, who apparently rarely showed up at the dorm. I want to know the backstory there.
It's probably at Julie's dorm. Were they dating
I
in
was actually going to ask about that. I'm like,
There you go. Wow. We did it. We fit it all in. Thank you, DJ Stewart. Thank you to Pete Bellotti. Thank you to Andrew Kaplan and Andrew Bogish, the Weedos, the coffee drinkers, the callers, Julia Landauer, champion race car driver. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you back on Monday.
What are we going to do about these strippers?